Christine isn't happy. She gets a big industry publication write-up of the show that she produces, and she's not happy. And I'll give you one guess why. Christine, how about another airing of grievances? Go ahead.
Hugh Hewitt, Sean Hannity.
Mm-hmm.
Where was the shout out to Cookie?
Well, I did talk about the team. You are a member of the team. You are the most truant member of the team, right? So if you're going to do like a list of who is here doing the job the most, you would have been fourth on the depth chart when it comes to this team. So that might be one reason. Another reason might be Cut 52.
I don't want to get decapitated.
Decapitated?
Decapitated? Never once since 2018 when I started working with you have you ever said, I love Cookie. I'm trying to follow you and just keep reminding myself that you're right, Christine. You're right, Christine. And when he's done talking, you can explain why you're right, Christine. Guy, I lost $1,600 on Facebook. I didn't go out with Hulk Holden.
Why would you be nervous, Christine?
I don't want to get arrested.
I just wanted to play that again. But it also answers the question. Got to run. I've got to go do television. You wanted to co-host with me.
Yes.
Dagan's out, and Christine's like, I'll fill in. And I was like, Justin, if you have to handcuff her to the desk in the radio studio, we cannot have her slosh into the TV studio. Can't happen. But who knows? Tune in. Fox Business Network, minutes from right now. It'll definitely be me. Whether we get a stowaway who just pops up out of nowhere, I guess that remains to be seen. We will also be back here in New York City on Monday for the Guy Benson Show. Have a great weekend, everyone. Stay sane. Stay safe. We'll talk to you then.
You have just been so mean to me this entire week.
Decapitated?
Decapitated? Never once since 2018 when I started working with you have you ever said, I love Cookie. I'm trying to follow you and just keep reminding myself that you're right, Christine. You're right, Christine. And when he's done talking, you can explain why you're right, Christine. Guy, I lost $1,600 on Facebook. I didn't go out with Hulk Holden.
Paid for by Christian Care Ministry.
Let's see, if something costs less, a lot less, but people are actually happier with it, that sounds like something to look into. And that's MetaShare. Maybe you've heard joining MetaShare can save you or your family up to $500 a month, and that's huge. But it's also true. People are just happier with it. They love being part of something that reflects and promotes their values and what they believe in. MetaShare works, too. It's been around for 30 years now, and members have shared more than $7 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So, yeah, really, you could save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care, whether you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan that you're happy with. Here you go. You can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. A very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. It's 855-51-BIBLE. That's 855-51-BIBLE. 855-51-BIBLE.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger, who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular to get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or ConsumerCellular.com and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for autopay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
KTTH Seattle 97.3 KIRO FM HD3 Tacoma Seattle K233BU Seattle and K233DT Eastlake.
They want
access. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. The Trump administration is appealing to the Supreme Court to allow the Department of Government Efficiency access to Social Security systems.
Social Security systems hold sensitive personal records on nearly everyone in the country, including banking information, salaries, and medical records for those on disability. A federal judge in Maryland blocked DOJ full access, but did allow staffers to view data that has been redacted of identifiable information. In a filing to the Supreme Court, the administration argues the injunction halts the executive branch's critically important efforts to improve information technology systems and eliminate waste and fraud.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House. The administration planning significant cuts at the CIA and other intelligence agencies. The Washington Post reports the agency plans to cut 1,200 jobs, and thousands of other job cuts are expected from other parts of the intelligence community. The president also calling on Congress to cut spending as he outlines his first budget plan on his second term.
Lawmakers are charged with cutting $1.5 trillion in spending. The Energy and Commerce Committee is charged with cutting $880 billion in spending. Brett Guthrie of Kentucky chairs that committee. Guthrie was in the White House meeting yesterday, but some Republicans urge caution with the cuts.
Fox's Chad Pergram. The administration's agreed to end its funding freeze against the state of Maine over a dispute over transgender athletes. In response, the state has agreed to drop a lawsuit against the Department of Agriculture. The money that was suspended funds a statewide child nutrition program. A federal judge ordered the money be released after finding that Maine would likely succeed in its legal challenge. Wall Street extended its gains for a ninth straight day. The Dow added 564, matching its winning streak since December of 2023. America's listening to Fox News.
Millions of Americans take medicine like Ozempic and Zepbound. Many of them are overpaying by thousands of dollars a year. These GLP-1 medications for diabetes, weight loss, and more may not always be covered by your insurance, but GoodRx can help. GoodRx helps you save every month on prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, it's free to use. Check GoodRx to save on GLP-1s. Just go to GoodRx.com/GLP. That's GoodRx.com/GLP. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
Sometimes an identity threat is a ring of professional hackers. And sometimes it's an overworked accountant who forgot to encrypt their connection while sending bank details.
I need a coffee.
And you need LifeLock, because your info is in endless places. It only takes one mistake to expose you to identity theft. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Folks! The yellow light! I'm walking here! I'm walking!
Good afternoon, Victoria Taft with you on the Jason Rantz Show. Woo! Friday afternoon, we made it. I mean, honestly, sometimes don't you feel that way? It's just like, thank God. It's going to be a great weekend, except tomorrow morning at 6 o'clock, I guess, when it's supposed to rain. My husband always gives me the updates on the weather. So, I mean, I just don't even look at the weather app anymore. I just go, over to you, dear. What's the weather going to be like? And then he promptly tells me. Well, anyway, how's it going? So much to talk about, and we've got so much to cover today. And we've got updates on all the taxes you get to pay. Hey, who among us is making $4,000 or more this next year? Are you? I know I'm not. At least, I mean, I'm always holding out great hope. Pretty sure I'm not. $4,000 a year more it's going to cost you to comply with the Democrats' plans for your money. Gee, thanks, guys. Appreciate you representing the people, because this is how, this is what democracy looks like. Yay. This is what democracy looks like. Yeah, you're taking your money. Now, Jackson got me the drop for it, because we're going to use This Is What Democracy Looks Like throughout the program on all the stuff that they keep doing to you. And they turn around, and then when Trump tries something similar, something akin to it, oh no, this is a constitutional crisis. So let's get to it. What's Trending is brought to you by Legacy Group, Capital Common Sense Lending. So let's find out what's trending.
What's trending? Woke madness.
Well, that's true. Woke madness is indeed what's going on. Yesterday was May Day, and I thought I'd, could get away from crazy people. And because, I grew up in Portland, did a lot of time in Portland as a broadcaster. And, of course, in Seattle and Portland, they're all the same people. So you see people at protests in Portland, and then you go to Seattle and you go, hey, hold on a minute now. Who's that guy breaking the Starbucks window? Who's that guy? I saw him. He's a guy from Portland. Same thing. Antifa, rinse, repeat, same deal. Anyway, thousands gathered. On May Day, that would be yesterday, people who actually have no jobs or who got the day off because it's May Day and they had marches around Western Washington were all supposed to be impressed and amazed. And indeed we were. Roxana Neruzzi, executive director of something called One America, not One America News. This is One America, probably an offshoot of Indivisible and all the other lefty groups and NGOs that you've already heard of, but they just name it a new name on May Day to make you feel as if they're huge, and they're not the same people. They're just going out there and they've got more people than they know what to do with. There's so many people out there. There's so many. This is what democracy looks like. Anyway, so she's a Roxana Neruzzi. That she says she turned out to the rally at Cal Anderson Park, of course, that's where it was, to protest the cuts being made by Trump administration and deportations. Okay, the cuts. Oh, I can't wait to hear her uphold her argument about the cuts. Let's listen, shall we?
I also think people are angry and fed up, and that's why we see the turnout we do today. Folks are coming out, they're coming together, and they're demanding, just like we saw in the Hands Off rally. Today's another moment to come together and say, we don't want billionaires running our country.
Too late. Somebody, in fact, a lot of somebody's elected that billionaire to be the president of the United States. I happen to love the guy. Sure, he's got his flaws. Just like I'm sure our friend here, Neruzzi, or what's her name again? Wait, hold on. Just a moment. I don't want to misspeak. Roxana Neruzzi. I'm sure she has great qualities. She's soft-spoken. She seems like a nice gal. I'm sure that she wouldn't mess up your Tesla too much. Maybe. But she's wrong, of course. Here's another Seattle protester telling us what democracy looks like. She told Cairo News Radio that, I'm sorry, it's a he. Well, on the other hand, are we really sure? Do we know?
I believe it's a man, yes.
Are we sure it's a man?
I mean, you can't assume these days.
Yeah, the last Tesla bomber, I'm not even kidding. I wrote the story. It's not funny, not funny. There's an update on the Tesla bomber, that guy who's went to college in Massachusetts and was caught when he was home, and oh my goodness, big things were happening. And I said, and he looks like a girl. Doggone if he's not a transgender. Anyway, we're assuming that this is a man. I apologize if I've offended anyone by pointing out the obvious. And if you can't handle it, please make sure you call the text line and just send us a little message and say, Victoria, how dare you? 800-465-8770. 800-465-8770. Here's the protester, says that he thinks many Trump voters are regretting their choice. Oh.
I think that a lot of folks that voted for this federal administration are having buyer's remorse. And it's important for folks to feel safe.
Yeah. Wow. They're having buyer's. Who's having buyer's remorse? Show of hands. Anyone having buyer's remorse? Hold on. 800-465-8770. Now, because this is interesting. Because the commie from CNN, Van Jones, spoke to a bunch of people around a little table. Not a bunch. There was like 3 of them. And it's interesting. Do they regret their choices for the presidency? Let's find out. Over to you, Van Jones, asking these nice voters, would they vote for Trump again?
If you had to do it all over again, would you vote for Donald Trump again, yes or no?
Yes, I would.
No!
Now, in the future, I am not a diehard Democrat or diehard Republican. If there were a Democratic candidate who was more aligned for me, then I would vote Democrat.
If you go back in time, would you vote for Donald Trump, yes or no?
Yes.
I think I might know the answer on this next one.
She said yes. It's immediately yes. No, I'm sorry.
If you had to do it all over again, would you vote for Donald Trump, yes or no?
1,000% absolutely yes.
Huh, that's so weird. Wait, what that guy say again? The protester dude? Who turns out is a dude?
I think that a lot of folks that voted for this federal administration are having buyer's remorse. And it's important for folks to feel safe.
Oh, isn't that weird? Those people who said that they'd vote for him again and again, I'm pretty sure that that's exactly what democracy looks like. Am I right or am I right? This is what democracy looks like. Oh, okay. All right. What else is trending?
What's trending? The economy.
Is the economy so bad right now? No, it's not actually. 177. Wait, take two. I mean, the number of jobs are so high. I couldn't even say 177,000 right out of the chute. That's how incredible it is. Now, we've had bigger ones before, but the good news about the jobs picture is that the jobs picture are growing despite the loss in GDP. Now, why is that? Here is this. This is an excellent explanation by EJ and Tony on the pages of Town Hall, the mothership publication for which I write. And essentially, everything's going up. They're going up. Why? Why is everything going up? Because there are greater number of jobs that are being pulled into the economy, and they're full-time jobs with benefits. So previously, there'd only been multiple part-time jobs. That's what the Biden administration got us, because I don't know. I guess there's basically not much else going on, right? And so, when the government takes over the economy, which he overspent and did to our peril, what happens is that everything is dependent upon the government and not so much on the private sector, and Trump's changing that around. So he's trying to change it to more tariff-based importation of jobs, importation of money, right? If you reshore jobs, if you reshore people who are making widgets in the United States of America, it's all to the good, because somebody's going to have to work those jobs. And I look forward to the day, and Jackson, tell me if you agree. Don't you look forward to the day when there are more legal immigrants coming to this country?
Sure, yeah.
Besides the million of legal immigrants that we have, instead of illegal immigrants who actually populated Joe Biden's employment numbers over the past 4 years. Because, you bring in a wave of humanity, and they are 5 or 6, I'm exaggerating, but, multiple part-time jobs. The gig economy is being replaced by the job-based economy with benefits. Now, I thought that's what we wanted, but apparently that's a problem for some folks. I don't understand why. Why would that be a problem? Well, anyway, so the tariff woes apparently have hit Pike Place Market now. These terrible tariff woes. This is interesting. And the socio-produce owner, Mike Osborne, says he's seen a rise in prices on certain items. I cannot wait to find out which ones those are.
So we've seen the increases on certain items, not across the board like I would have thought. We absorb most of the price increase ourselves, okay? There's certain items that you just only increase so much.
Okay, well, what are they? What are the items that are increasing in price? Did he ever say what items he's got more?
No.
Well, I keep hearing people say, prices are going up. Prices are going down. Prices are going up. And Trump's just doing all kinds of unconstitutional things. And then you ask him and you go, okay, what is he doing? Well, I don't know. But it just seems really bad because I don't like him. Oh, okay. Thanks a lot. Thanks, Head Pat. Well, anyway, so socio-produce owner Mike Osborne says he's only seen rise in prices on certain items, but he doesn't know, or he wasn't asked probably, what those items were, which I would be most interested in. Hello, Mr. Osborne, I'd really appreciate knowing that. You can also weigh in our text line, 800-465-8770. I imagine some of the tchotchkes from China are getting a little bit more expensive, but we just started this stuff. So, I mean, listen, I saw the other day, this is interesting. I saw all the container ships lined up like planes over O'Hare along the Columbia River flow at Astoria. And they've been sitting out there for weeks. Then you add that up to the other ones in Long Beach and the other ones at other major ports in the country, and you go, hey, wait a minute now. Hold the phone here. You guys have been out there before the tariffs have been imposed. So what's going on here? So how could prices, if you're not unloading, let me complete the picture for you. If you're not unloading, and if you're not bringing these things to our shores, you're just in the water, floating out there, what has increased? How exactly have your prices on the goods that you already currently have on your container ship increased? So I think that this is actually, higher prices is likely a lagging indicator and not a current. I think fear is the thing that drives prices up. While they could get higher, they could. Now, that's one of the reasons why the numbers weren't as good as they could have been. The economic numbers weren't as good because the imports were higher because everybody's importing stuff before the tariffs go into in effect so that they can still sell stuff. They'll probably want to increase the price on those too, but whatever. Anyway, so here we have Brigid Trading Company co-owner Mike Spurgeon thinks Pike Place will be able to handle the tariffs because many of the products sold are made locally. I like the idea. There we go. Let's find out what he says.
The fact that this is such a local crafts-oriented place and there are so many ingenious people here, I think it'll be able to weather anything.
Okay, well, there you go. All right, probably true. Although I've seen a few stores. Come on, let's be honest. Tchotchkes from, the little figurines. Got a lot of Chinese stuff in there, which is not a problem. I don't hate on China. I just hate on the Communist Party. That's it. I mean, Chinese people are fine with me, unless they're spies for the Communist Party and the PRC. I mean, that's it. Okay, so, and the military. And in which case, I have a problem with them. Otherwise, Chinese people, all to the good. Oregon Senator Ron Wyden has chosen today to sound off on the Trump tariffs. And let's find out what he has to say about those, because I'm sure he loves them.
Oregon grass seed growers estimate that about half of their exports, nearly $200 million in sales, are being canceled thanks to, again, the Trump taxes and the Trump tariffs, because they're really the same thing.
Well, that's interesting. We do in Oregon have I think that Oregon is the largest purveyor of grass seed in the world. Okay. And the Willamette Valley is the place where they grow them all. And I'm so impressed by Ron Wyden actually knowing that, because considering the fact that he doesn't actually live in Oregon, he's indeed the third senator from New York, where he lives with his wife, the owner of some highfalutin bookstore from back in the day. So, it's kind of interesting. It's refreshing that he would actually dip his beak into this particular issue. Anyway, he's not done yet. Let's continue, shall we?
The same goes for the electronics manufacturers, vehicle parts manufacturers, and other major employers in Oregon. China buys more than 15% of all our state's exports.
Okay.
All of those sales are going away thanks to Trump's trade war.
Oh, yeah. Well, this is an interesting thing that Ron didn't tell you, which I think he should have, because it's actually all to the good. There are more companies that have indicated that they are reshoring or increasing the size of their footprint in the United States. Among them, hey, Ron, Intel. You know Intel. Remember Intel? Right there. It's just right there where you don't live, in Hillsboro, where you don't live. Then we have Micron, which they moved out and they went to Idaho. And we got Apple Electronics making their chips. NVIDIA is going to make its biggest, fastest chip in the United States. NVIDIA. Hello, everybody. They're the ones powering AI. Taiwan Semiconductor. They're all coming back. So the chip, I wouldn't worry too much about the chips, Ron. Let the chips fall where they may. So those companies have all said that they're coming in. In terms of pharmaceuticals, Amgen, that's not a bad company to increase the size of, because we've got to get away. It's not just money. It's not just transactional. Trump's not that shallow. Let's face it. I mean, on some things, okay, sure. But I think time has told you that he actually loves this country, and he wants us not to be caught with our britches down in the next pandemic when we desperately need chips, pharmaceuticals, PPE, all the stuff we had to send away to China for. Did I ever tell you, this is this wonderful story. I said, hopefully. Did I ever tell you about the time when I sent away for toilet paper on Amazon during the pandemic?
I don't think so.
Well, like everyone, I sent away for toilet paper during the pandemic. And I had no idea, but should have known, since it was Amazon, that it was a query and a purchase made from the people who brought us the Wuhan flu. And so it was, I'm not even kidding, I think it was 9 months later I got them. I got the toilet paper, and it was all smashed. It obviously had gotten stuck at the bottom of a container ship, maybe floating off the shore of Astoria or Tacoma or Seattle. Who knows? But that was just smashed. It was misshapen, discolored. And I looked at it, took a picture, and then I threw it away because there's no way I'm using that toilet paper. I mean, literally months it took for that thing to get there. I don't know. I just thought it was funny. What can I tell you? What else is trending? Am I still doing what else is trending? I am, aren't I? Oh my gosh, I'm such a bad girl. What else is trending, Jackson?
What's trending? Let's get political.
Oh, sure. Why not? What else is political around here? My goodness. Well. The sainted Calmer Abrego Garcia, or is it Kilmore? Depends on who you talk to. His wife would probably err on the latter. Remember him? He's the guy for whom they are making trips. They are going on a Camino and seeking Kilmore Abrego Garcia. Turns out, of course, his wife, she was beaten up by him all the time, apparently, and she kept filing domestic violence stuff against him. And, that's not something that gets you deported unless, of course, you're an illegal alien, in which case you're illegally here and committing a felony. That might get you deported. You know what else might get you deported? Human trafficking. Here it is. The police, the cam from the cops picking him up, when he had a car full of people who had no luggage. Seen this yet? Well, you can hear it now.
Hello, sir.
How are you?
Good, and you?
All right.
Anything good?
You got a bunch of people here.
Look at that guy. I mean, everything good? Hey, man, how's it going? That's our Abrego Garcia, the sainted one. Ah, yes. Anyway, we keep going.
Don't you?
It's 1 for 6. Yes. Go back to work.
Gotcha. Where are you working at?
Where?
Where?
San Luis, Missouri.
Missouri?
Yes, sir.
Gotcha. Okay.
But I'm from Maryland.
Where do y'all live at?
Where I live? I live in Maryland.
Maryland?
Yeah, also here.
Whose vehicle is it?
What, excuse me?
Whose car is it?
It's to my boss.
Your boss?
My boss, yeah.
Where's he live?
Where's he
your
live?
boss live?
My boss right now is staying in Maryland, but he lives in Texas.
Okay.
In Houston, Texas.
Oh, okay. So we're just making a routine trip. We're going from Houston, Texas to San Luis, Missouri, which I think is a really pretty way of saying it, not going to lie. And then we're going to go to Maryland. And and he's got 8 people in the car. And it's been refitted, this car has, with multiple seats that do not belong on any kind of car like this. They've changed everything. You talk about, what is it, after purchase, what do you call it when you get stuff after you buy it? There's a phrase for it.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Aftermarket parts? Is that what it is?
Something like that.
Okay. Well, they had aftermarket parts provided by our friend Kilmar Abrego Garcia and his boss, who lives in Maryland. And so they come away, the cops come away, and they go, what do you think of this dude? I think he's human trafficking. Let's listen, shall we?
You know what you got here, right? He's hauling these people for money, is what he's doing. But sometimes they commingle dope and dirt.
No, but
there's 8 people in there.
Yeah, I know. I didn't know that. They put an extra row of seats in there.
Yeah. So he's getting paid to haul these people, probably to Maryland, I would say, if I had my guess.
He said they all work together, is what he's telling me, but he's the only one that knows English.
So let me ask you this. They don't have any luggage in there, right? And if you get them out, they're going to have a tube of toothpaste, and they're going to have toothbrushes in their pockets, I guarantee it.
He's got $1,400 cash in his pocket in an envelope.
Okay, but guess what they did? Guess what they did? They let him go. They just gave him a ticket for something else. And they let him go in human trafficking because that was exactly what he was doing. So there you go. This is how democracy, what is it? What democracy looks like? I'm just off you know what? I've taken a vacation from protesters. I have. So I have enjoyed that quiet time in my own brain. This is what democracy looks like. No, it's not. And I don't care who tells you. That's not true. Big news with Joe and Jill Biden. Joe got up this morning. We've got more on that coming up. Victoria Taft in for Jason Rantz, KTTH.
Seattle's best conservative talk radio lineup is growing. And it ain't just growing, it's getting louder and pulling no punches.
What's up, Seattle? It's Dana Lash. Join us on AM 770 KTTH for The Dana Show. Weekdays from 9 to noon.
It's a new chapter for AM 770 KTTH.
Stream The Dana Show live on the KTTH smartphone app.
Weekday mornings 9 to noon on AM 770 KTTH. Conservative Talk Radio.
Our daughter Jessie loves playing detective.
A clue.
But since we discovered she has sensitive skin, we've been playing detective too.
We thought the problem was our puppy.
But it was actually our old detergent.
Aha.
So we switched to Tide Free and Gentle. Tide Free and Gentle provides an excellent Tide clean, and it doesn't leave behind irritating residues like dyes or perfumes, so it's gentle on your skin.
Case closed.
If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Free and Gentle.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZzzQuil.
ZzzQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZzzQuil nights. Explore our products at ZzzQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Cold is leaking and rats are moving and mold is creeping and water seeping in. It's hard to be a homeowner, we know.
Without American Crawl Space and Pest Services, it is hard to be a homeowner. Dave Ross here. American Crawl are the heroes to call for insulation and pest issues because in addition to their great reviews and decades of experience, they also give out the most PSE insulation rebates of any insulation company in the state.
American Crawl, the heroes you call.
Get your free inspection at AmericanCrawl.com.
Hey, this is Pete from Home Matters, a show that covers everything having to do with your home. Tune in every Saturday from 2 to 3 on AM 770 KTTH, where you'll hear from local business owners who are experts in their industries. From foundation to flooring, roofing and windows, furniture, and financial planning, it's everything in and around your home, and we've got you covered on Home Matters. If it matters to you, it matters to us here at Home Matters. Saturdays from 2 to 3, right here on AM 770 KTTH, or listen to the podcast on mynorthwest.com.
Your home's exterior takes a beating from the elements, so you want to make the right call. Whether that's repainting or replacing your siding, Pacific Exteriors helps you choose what works best for your home, your budget, and your goals. With nearly 20 years of local experience, they've helped thousands of homeowners protect what matters. Mention KTTH this month and save 15% on your project. Visit PacificExteriorsLLC.com. PacificExteriorsLLC.com. Choose superior with Pacific Exteriors.
Is it time to get your home sold? Nick Southard with Upgrade Realty here.
Selling hundreds of homes around the Sound for over 25 years has taught me presentation is everything. And with my luxurious marketing, you'll attract tons of buyers, sell fast at top dollar, and net more money. Because Upgrade Realty will save you thousands in fees for only 1% listing commission. To learn more, visit upgraderealty.com. Upgrade your listing for 1%. Upgraderealty.com.
With Progressive, renters can save on protection for the things that make your place yours, even things that don't make sense to everyone.
People always wonder why I don't get rid of my guitar since I never play. But it's like, what if I actually end up taking lessons? Sure, I've had it for 8 years, but if I get rid of it, then what will my New Year's resolution be next January?
Exactly. So bundle your renters and auto and save with Progressive and protect the things that make sense to you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates and other insurers not available in all states or situations. Covered subject to policy terms and conditions.
This is Secret Clinical dominating extra stinky stress sweat. And this is regular deodorant. Secret Clinical in a heat wave. Oh, what a beautiful day. This is regular deodorant. Ugh, I can't. Secret Clinical with workout sweat. Let's run another marathon. And regular deodorant. How much more? Secret is the GOAT. Because nothing fights sweat better. Stay fresher under pressure.
Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. Indeed's sponsored jobs feature helps you stand out and hire fast. Start at Indeed.com/credit.
AM 770 KTTH is here for you. Be a part of the conversation. Stay up to date on the latest breaking news and information through our socials at 770 KTTH on X, formerly known as Twitter, and at Facebook.com/770 KTTH. This is AM 770 KTTH.
This hour of the Jason Rantz Show is brought to you by General Transmission Repair.
How are you? I tried 3 times to turn my mic on. Hey, how's it going, everybody? You're not going to believe this, but microphones work when they're turned on. So I have successfully put one finger on one button, and I did it, everybody. I did it. And I think I should be given special treatment for having done something right. Just like the left. They always want something for nothing. You know, you're supposed to take care of your kids. Now, let's see. Victoria, I'm going to read some of these messages that I just obliterated by pushing another button, as a matter of fact. Jason, let's see. Jason always gets wonderful guest hosts for his program. Victoria, you're my favorite of all of his guest hosts. Wow. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Another writes, no, I do not have buyer's remorse. And apparently, this is so intriguing. I had to ask and read it. What was the name of the guy Dana interviewed about his stories of Benjamin Franklin time traveling? I didn't hear that part of it. So, but now I'm really curious about it. Okay, well, I can't wait. You know, Dana, she's iconoclastic and fun. Well, we've got some big news having to do with Jill and Joe Biden. That's right. They are back in the news again. And they're going to reemerge next week on a television show. I'll bet you can't even guess. So we'll tell you about that coming up. I'm sure that you will be waiting with bated breath to find out which horrible show they're going on next week. That will require nothing of them, no thinking, no nothing. Okay, today's distraction story, that's right, because every day, Democrats are trying to figure out how to distract voters, Americans, people who are politically inclined with a shiny object. The shiny object is over there somewhere. We all know where that shiny object goes. It's, for example, when you see a squirrel and you look at the squirrel, you run after the squirrel, which is what I do. We need a dog for that, but nevertheless, that would be nice. It is something that is meant to distract. Here is the left's favorite distraction. See if you can spot the lie.
This is a really simple amendment.
What it says is that no funds can be used to construct, sustain, outfit, or maintain a makeup studio for the Secretary of Defense. Secretary Hegseth is more interested in concealing and covering up his mishandling of sensitive attack plans and his blemishes than strengthening our national security. We don't need a made-for-TV defense secretary. We don't need someone more interested in their appearance than in ensuring the safety of our service members. But according to a CBS News report, Secretary Hegseth has ordered a new makeup studio at the Pentagon that will cost taxpayers thousands of dollars.
Oh, my goodness. Are you serious right now? That's terrible. You know what? I want tax dollars to be able to write off my makeup studio. No, I don't have one, but if I did, I'd want to be able to write it off. Well, this is interesting because it was something that was tweeted out like 20 times right after that, en masse, by design, because it was preordained by the Democrats in hopes that somebody who is on X or Blue Sky or whatever social media platform would see it and go, I am outraged. I'm trying to sound like one of those salt and pepper haired, which I kind of am, but I mean, salt and pepper haired women of the liberal side, where, maybe Elizabeth Warren-ish. I am so...
You need more of the Oklahoma accent, though, for it to be Liz Warren.
Oh, okay. Can you help me out? How do I do it? You are... Well, she's like a Brahmin. She's like a Boston Brahmin now. But, she does hail from Oklahoma because her papa had high cheekbones. Okay, well, I'm going to try to sound outraged. A paper-thin voice spouting outrage about Pete Hegseth having a makeup studio at the Pentagon?
This is a really simple amendment. What it says is that no funds can be used to construct, sustain, outfit, or maintain a makeup studio for the Secretary of Defense. Secretary Hegseth is more interested in concealing and covering up his mishandling of sensitive attack plans and his blemishes than strengthening our national security.
Thank you, ma'am, whose name I did not know, and I do the West Coast, Mest Coast report every Friday for PJ Media. I have never heard of you until now. Congratulations. Well, does Pete Hegseth have plans for a $40,000, she neglected to put that in, $40,000 studio to apply his makeup, which would be in his office? You have to have all these qualifiers because that's how the lie started. So CBS said, well, it's in his office at the Pentagon, which I'm sure is cavernous. You could probably bowl in Pete Hegseth's office. I'm right. Can you find out how big the SecDef's office is at the Pentagon? I would be most interested. I'll bet you it's cavernous. Okay, so, Jackson's going to find out, and he's going to be back with a report. But it turns out, it turns out that the story about Pete Hegseth's makeup studio is made up. Now, in April 2025, reports surfaced alleging that U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth ordered the conversion of the Pentagon Green Room into a makeup studio. See, it started out with it being in his office because that's what people are saying on X. It's in his office. It cost $40,000. Are you mad? Have you found out how big his office is? Not yet. I bet you that's probably classified, isn't it? What do you think? Has anyone been? I know there's a lot of.
Oh, no, here we go.
Oh, here we go.
According to Google AI, the Secretary of Defense's office located in the Pentagon is estimated to be 3,700 square feet.
Holy crap.
It's a house, basically. Yeah.
Wow. Pete, if you're listening, and you don't need me to tell you and ratify it for you, but there is room for a makeup studio in your 3,700 square foot office. That's very interesting. Wow. Anyway, it's not actually in his office, and it's not actually a makeup studio. It's actually a green room for Pentagon peeps who are waiting to do a hit on television. That's to say, a guest spot on myriad television shows who have said Pentagon people, like I've seen Tammy Bruce do that, stuff. And they have the step and repeat thing behind them. It's a studio. And so that's where they go. So it's actually not a studio for Pete Hegseth's makeup.
We don't need a made-for-TV defense secretary.
We don't, do we?
We don't need someone more interested in their appearance than in ensuring the safety of our service members.
Because we know that's where his heart is. That's how low and stupid these people are getting. That's how dumb this is. Every day, Donald Trump is breaking the constitutional agreement between the people and the governors. The governed and the governed. We can't do that. Well, they'll never tell you what it is, but they feel very sure that they can pull the wool over your eyes and suggest to you, indeed, nay, say with affirmation that Donald Trump is breaking the Constitution, defying the Constitution. That's not true, actually. The other thing is yesterday's big thing, and I saw one of Bill Kirk's videos on this at Washington Gun Law, so big ups to him. And I saw this, day before yesterday? It was another distraction from our friends on the left. And the distraction went something like this. We are going to get rid of assault weapons. These are weapons of war, notwithstanding the fact they're not. But nevertheless, that will never, the untruth, rabble-rousing, lying will never stop them from waving their hands in the air and saying, why, they should not have those weapons of war. I'm getting closer. Not, what do you think? I mean,
It's not bad.
I mean, I'm trying to go for the barely contained outrage of one of these women that you always see out there with their nose rings, and they're my age or older. Just saying. I mean, this is what democracy looks like. So I'm working on that. So anyway, the upshot was the assault rifle ban, which they're talking about in the Senate because it came from Adam Schiff. Mr. Adam Schiff, the last thing we heard of Mr. Adam Schiff was revelations this week that it was Adam Schiff and Gina Haspel, the CIA director under Donald Trump 45, that helped bring along the effort to impeach him during his first effort at office. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know, a lot of people were going, Gina Haspel, don't do it. And Adam Schiff, of course, we know he lied through the whole thing. He lied. He mischaracterized classified information from the Intelligence Committee. He was so bad and lied so much and lied like a rug, they kicked him off the doggone committee. Hey, sorry, dude. You can't be on this committee if you're out there lying about the intelligence, much less pretending you know about it. We're moments away. From getting Donald Trump. Well, Gina Haspel helped him. So she can just go pound sand too. Be that as it may. So our friend Adam Schiff, the lying Adam Schiff, was out there saying we've got to get rid of these assault weapons. And we have a bill somewhere. It's in somebody's head right now. Okay, nobody's written it down yet. But we're thinking about it. It's a thought bubble over our collective caucus in the Senate, U.S. Senate, and we are going to come after those guns. I'm not sure why they're doing that, actually. We understand that they want to take your guns because totalitarians work better when you can't defend yourself. We understand that. And that's, clearly what they're after. Got that. But the problem is that why are they going for this now? It's because it's a diversion. It's another diversion. Let's see how long that takes to take hold. Is there a bill yet, Jackson? Is there a bill for this assault weapons ban? Has any one of those Democratic senators put forward an actual bill with a number? He's going to AI it. Isn't AI the best? I mean, for those purposes, not when they take over your life and then they crash your car because they don't like you.
I'm not seeing anything.
You're no. What? There's no bill? That's shocking. Who is surprised by this? No one, actually. No one is, turns out, surprised by this. Okay. Well, I guess there's that. So no bill. So actually, no assault weapons ban. And especially since, who's in charge? I'm sorry. Last time I checked, Republicans were in charge of the Senate and the House, and who knows for how long. You got to vote the right way. But it's a distraction. Hey, we're doing something. We're chanting on the sidewalks. We're sitting and doing filibusters, and this is what's happening. We're doing our jobs. Please. Our flag, it's going up. Please salute it. This is what democracy looks like. Okay, back in a minute. Joe and Jill have a new gig, well, at least for next week, and we'll tell you about it. When we come back, Victoria Taft in for Jason Rantz. You're listening to 770 KTTH.
Our daughter Jessie loves playing detective.
A clue.
But since we discovered she has sensitive skin, we've been playing detective too.
We thought the problem was our puppy.
But it was actually our old detergent.
Aha.
So we switched to Tide Free and Gentle. Tide Free and Gentle provides an excellent Tide clean, and it doesn't leave behind irritating residues like dyes or perfumes, so it's gentle on your skin.
Case closed.
If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Free and Gentle.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZQuil.
ZQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZQuil nights. Explore our products at ZQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Hi, it's John Curley. You know, I've been a patient of Longevity Medical Clinic since 2009, and Longevity Medical Clinic has been helping people live longer, healthier lives for more than 25 years. You know what's amazing, doctor? The feelings that you have after just a couple of months. You sleep better. Your strength and vitality, it is evident that it works. It's really a mindset, though, Dr. Mixon, because a lot of people, well, this is what's supposed to happen.
Let us help you be stronger, faster, leaner, smarter, sexier, but most important, happier. I'm less impressed by how many years I might live, but how much I live during my years. You know, the option is here. Nobody's going to make you go to Longevity. But the opportunity is there, and all you have to do is take advantage of it. I don't know why anybody would not want to do what we do.
And that's where Longevity Medical Clinic comes in. So get your free health analysis. Go to longevitymedicalclinic.com. That's longevitymedicalclinic.com.
You heard the news. Newsmax just went public on the New York Stock Exchange and listed on the big board. Millions of Americans like you are joining our news revolution. Reuters Institute says Newsmax is one of the top 12 news brands in America. Even President Trump says it's terrific. 40 million Americans go to Newsmax, and its audience grew 50% since the same time last year. Millions really are making the switch to Newsmax. If you want to be a Newsmax share owner, call your advisor or get more info at newsmaxinvest.com. Stand with Newsmax today for a strong America. This communication is for informational purposes only and shall not be intended to or shall not constitute any offer to buy or sell securities, nor shall there be any sale of securities in any jurisdiction in which such offer, solicitation, or sale would be unlawful.
Homeowners, stop what you're doing right now and listen up, because Puget Sound Energy has new rebates that have never been this high. If insufficient insulation or no insulation at all in your crawl space or attic are impacting your energy bills, now's the time to get your free inspection from Northwest Crawl Space Services, because these These PSE rebates could pay for up to 95% of your project, and that could mean thousands of dollars in savings on your job. But make sure you hire a crawl space company that's PSE certified, because not every company can offer these rebates. Don't miss out. Call today, and the team from Northwest Crawl Space Services are happy to give you a free energy savings consultation. Northwest Crawl Space Services will get rid of the critters, re-insulate your home, and hook you up with big-time savings and PSE rebates. Remember, these guys can solve any crawl space or attic problem, no exceptions. See if you qualify for savings from PSE. Go to nwcrawlspace.com.
A bold new voice on KTTH.
So Mike Waltz is out at NSC.
Dana Lash.
And you knew something like this was coming.
Weekday mornings, 9 to noon.
They were discussing something very innocuously in a signal chat that, it's not like Hillary Clinton. This is actually okay to use. I think that they put him out there so they wouldn't have to do Hegseth. They wanted a scalp. The left wanted a scalp. Like, okay, we'll give you this, but you can't have this.
Catch the Dana Show. Weekday mornings, 9 to noon. Wherever you are on the KTTH app.
Friday afternoon, Victoria Taft with you, in for Jason Rantz. He's back next week, I assume. Has he been off and he's on assignment. He's on assignment having fun somewhere, maybe doing Fox News or what have you. Anyway, it's great to spend the time with you. Hey, I just want you to know that I'm looking out for you, just like the folks in Olympia were looking out for you during this legislative session. And I'm in so doing, I'm just doing a little wallet biopsy on you right now. Could you just could you lift up the couch cushion, please? Just checking. Got any money down there? You're going to need it. Oh, yeah, the whole legislative session, we're going to get a complete rundown on the legislative session from Jim Walsh in the 5 o'clock hour. And that will be appointment radio. Trust me when I tell you. But it turns out that they have raised taxes on so many things, so very, very many things. And it's going to cost you like $4,000 a year. Between $2,000 and $4,000 a year. So it's $3,000, maybe, give or take. So I had a list of all of the things that they had increased the cost of in Olympia, because you have money. What are you talking about? You're still, I know you're working your 2 gigs. I know. Some of you are. Some of you aren't. Some of you got the real jobs, and we saw it in the latest jobs report. Right on for you. Jobs with benefits. Okay, well, now we've got an increase, a 55% increase in school district property tax levy authority by 55%. It's 55% increase. That's on your property tax. And then there's a 6 cent a gallon gas tax, which puts our gas tax in Washington in the top 3 of the country. In Washington, I think it's the latest, but I know for sure in California, I did a little study of that. Of course, the state makes far more money per gallon than the gas company does. So you understand what the real shakedown is. And whenever they say, and you may just please laugh up your sleeve when you hear these people say, corporate greed, when in fact you really should talk about the Democrats' greed at increasing the cost of you moving around. But the worst one is, okay, taxes on gas, bad. That is bad. However, the worst one is the diesel tax. That's going up 12 cents a gallon. You know what that means? And the B&O tax is going up as well. So business tax and other attendant business taxes, as well as the gas tax. What does that mean? Everybody in your car right now, what does that mean? That means the cost of everything's going up, because how do you get the goods and services, both goods and services to your house? Well, it takes a vehicle of some sort, doesn't it? Yeah, and how do they get the groceries to the store? Well, it's usually a diesel truck. Yeah, wow, that's so weird. How do they get all the other goods and services to your area? Diesel trucks. 12 cents a gallon. They've lost their damn minds. Speaking of which, You know who else has lost their damn minds? Excuse the potty talk. Just want to give you a heads up. Joe and Jill Biden have been invited on a show for next week, Flying Without a Net. And they're going to go into the belly of the beast.
So I want to start this with an announcement. Next Thursday, May 8th, we are honored to welcome former President Biden and First Lady Jill Biden for their very first interview since leaving the White House. We'll ask about his legacy, accomplishments, regrets, and, of course, the current political landscape.
Wait, did she say accomplishments?
It is quite simple.
Oh, wait, that's something else. Ooh, I wonder what that was. Jill, thank you. Joe, thank you. I wonder how much pressure had to be put on ABC News to get Joe and Jill on the show. Now, I understand that he might make news. He might fall asleep on the set. He actually might trip walking up to the set. $20. $20 says he and Jill will not walk out. They will already be on set. You will not see him moving. You will not see him moving toward the desk. You will not see him moving away from the desk. He will be seated there at the very moment that the inception of the program next Thursday. How much do you want to bet? Hey!
It's a good call.
Yeah, he's not going to move. He will not be moving independent, period. Because he doesn't move independent, period. Anyway, we're late for a break, I know. So when we come back, much, much more on the Jason Rantz Show. The Washington State Superintendent of Schools, Chief, he's responding to news that the Trump administration's Department of Education is investigating him for Title IX problems, violations. So much good. Jim Walsh has lots to say about Chris Reichtel coming up in the 5 o'clock hour as well. And $4,000, you got it? Just give me a little text. 800-465-8770. You make $4,000 more than you were last year because that's what it's going to cost to keep up with Washington State Democrats' tax plans and increases. Yeah, that's what's happening. Yeah. Victoria Taft, filling in for Jason Rantz, AM 770 KTTH.
Hey, this is Pete from Home Matters. Tune in this weekend when we'll talk with local business owners about everything in and around your home. Join us on Saturdays from 2 to 3 right here on AM 770 KTTH or listen to the podcast on mynorthwest.com.
Brian loves the outdoors, and then one day his knees told him no.
I did have to stop hiking and skiing.
Diagnosis? Arthritis.
I went to my doctor now, and he wanted to replace my hips, and I did not want that to happen.
That's when Brian learned about stem cell therapy and went to see Dr. Mark Wagner, MD at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine.
I researched it. You know, you hear you talking on the radio, and it worked.
How long did it take to work?
Within 3 days, I could do squats. I could walk downstairs.
And just 4 months after that,
I went skiing yesterday at Crystal Mountain. We skied most of the day with no pain whatsoever on my knee.
So, does he recommend this to others?
I've recommended so many people, I just can't remember.
Sounds like he does. So before you choose surgery, consider stem cell therapy with Dr. Mark Wagner, MD at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. Schedule your consultation at drmarkwagnermd.com.
Jason Rantz here. Someone at our station had a loved one involved in a car accident back in August. Still no settlement from the insurance company. Not even reimbursed from the week they missed work or the money they paid to see a doctor and x-rays. They wish they hired Harold D. Carr right away. If you're in an accident, call the law offices of Harold D. Carr. Carr's team will save you time and money. Don't wait on the insurance company. HaroldCarAttorney.com. That's 2 R's in car. HaroldCarAttorney.com. C-A-R-R. HaroldCarAttorney.com.
Imagine finding your dream home and moving in right away. No waiting to sell your old place first. Sounds perfect, right? That's exactly what Orchard's Move First, Sell Later program lets you do. Buy your new home now and sell the old one later. Here's how it works. Orchard gives you cash so you can buy and move into your new home first, on your timeline. No waiting, no showings, no double moves. Then the Orchard experts take it from there. They handle repairs on your old home for you so you attract the right buyers. Once they're done, a local Orchard agent lists and sells your home for top dollar. Orchard's Move First program gives you the freedom to buy and move into your new home first and sell your old home later. Buy before you sell and get top dollar for your home with Orchard. Ready to find out how much your home is worth? Visit Orchard.com to get your free home valuation. That's Orchard.com.
Are you putting off your new kitchen plans? Why wait? Hi, Chad Cicchini, owner of Heritage Homecraft. Call today for a free in-home estimate. Years of experience, thousands of happy customers. Heritage Homecraft, 425-485-1600 or heritagehomecraft.com.
KTTH Seattle, 97.3 KIRO FM HD3 Tacoma, Seattle, K233BU Seattle, and K233 DT Eastlake.
A slimmed down plan. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. President Trump has released his 2026 budget plan, and it's set to cut, if not zero out spending on many government programs.
The package eliminating dollars from every department except the VA and transportation. Space programs are safe too. Still, lawmakers must greenlight the plan. The House Freedom Caucus declared, quote, "This is how you break the swamp." The package knifes housing programs by 40% and axes the Labor and Interior Departments by 30%. Pentagon money is essentially flat. Senate Armed Services Committee Chairman Roger Wicker torched the outline, accusing the Budget Office of trying to, quote, "shred to the bone the nation's military." He insists on more spending. The budget left out Medicare and Medicaid. They could face changes in the so-called Big Beautiful Bill.
Fox's Chad Pergram. The Trump administration has asked the Supreme Court to clear the way for the Department of Government Efficiency to access Social Security systems containing the personal data on millions of Americans. The government claims the DOJ team needs access to target what it calls waste in the federal government and have asked the justices to put the lower court ruling on hold as the lawsuit plays out. 7 people are dead after a tour van and pickup truck crashed on a highway near Yellowstone National Park.
A tour van carrying 14 people and a pickup truck with just the driver inside collided on a highway just outside Yellowstone National Park. 6 people in the van and the pickup truck driver were killed Thursday night. The other 8 people were taken to hospitals. Idaho State Police say the collision caused both vehicles to catch fire. A man on his way home who took video of the aftermath, Roger Merrill, said it's a dangerous highway and because of its proximity to Yellowstone is often very busy. But he also said it's remote, so it took first responders what he called an unnervingly long time to reach the crash site.
Fox's Jessica Rosenthal. America's listening to Fox News.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
Sometimes an identity threat is a ring of professional hackers. And sometimes it's an overworked accountant who forgot to encrypt their connection while sending bank details.
I need a coffee.
And you need LifeLock because your info is in endless places. It only takes one mistake to expose you to identity theft. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
The yellow light! God, I'm walking here! I'm walking!
Howdy ho, Victoria Taft with you. I'm in for Jason Rantz. I think Jason's back on Monday, but you never know. He's just he's a going guy. So you're stuck with me this afternoon. And aren't you lucky? I think so. Well. Lots going on in the news. If you got $4,000 more, that's what the increase in your taxes will cost you. So start looking through the couch cushions and start taking all the pop bottles back. Because that's a thing. That's a thing. New law I do like. I'm going to tell you about that coming up in this hour. Parents' Bill of Rights, a law I don't like that's coming up in this hour. In the meantime, the guy who just loves to get rid of propriety and morality, I think, in the schools and goings-on between parents and their children is responding to the Board of Education, the National Board of Education, if you will. That would be Why am I the Secretary of Education? That's the one I'm looking for. And she's looking at Chris Reichtel. Anyway, it's time to check out what's going on with What's Trending, and What's Trending is brought to you by the Sunset Auto family.
What's trending? Education.
Is it, though? Is it really education? Washington Superintendent of Schools, Chris Reichtel, responding to federal investigation into the state policies which break completely Title IX, which is a dyed-in-the-wool actual law. Signed into law, by the way, it may interest you to know, by Richard Nixon. Richard Nixon is mentioned 3 times in this show today. One having to do with the gold standard, another having to do with the last time the United States had any wherewithal in the world economy, going off the gold standard, and then of course opening the United States to Chinese trade. So you'll just have to keep book on that, but take my word for it. That's what's going on. Well, anyway, one of the things that Chris Reichtel has now said is that, oh gosh, I'm going to follow the law. I'm going to follow that law. But you know what he's doing? He knows what the law is. The law is that boys will not be competing against girls in sports, will not be sharing spaces with girls, will not, like bathrooms and places where locker rooms. And that's a problem for him because he is a dyed-in-the-wool, hey man, I think there are more than 1, 2, maybe even more than that, 2 genders. Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay.
Inaccurate to say biological.
Oh, sorry, this is Chris Reichtel. Stand by. I just want to make sure you get the whole thing. The whole 30 seconds.
It is quite simply inaccurate to say biologically that there are only boys and there are only girls.
I'd like him to cite the science that has been peer-reviewed and has been checked and rechecked. Just go ahead and cite the science. I mean, you sound like you really mean what you're saying, but we're talking about science, not political science.
There's a continuum. There is a science to this. There are children who are born intersex. There are children whose chromosomes and their hormones aren't consistent with their sex at birth.
Look, we put up with people like you in public spaces, but that doesn't mean we have to have all the laws revolve around your weirdness. So it is with people who are maybe different. People have these signs in their front yards, and they say, in this house, and fill in the blank. It's every conceivable talking point that you can fit on a bumper sticker, from here to Earth Day. But the thing is that if you just treat people by the golden rule, this house is ruled by the golden rule. In this house, we observe the golden rule. We treat others the way we treat them, or we'd like ourselves to be treated, then you could probably have a lot more love in this world. And so when you divide people based on the anomalies of a small scintilla, a splinter of identity, you're doing everyone else a disservice. You're welcome.
That's not a debate we're going to have today. I just want to remind you
you should have that debate today, Chris Reichtel.
Civil rights obligation. Our state laws make clear that students get to identify and participate in activities based on the gender in which they identify.
And that's another interesting thing, because during the legislative session in the state of Washington, the Parents' Bill of Rights was blown up to disinclude parents from knowing anything having to do with their child's sexuality and most other things. They have some rights without parents and consent, but now it's not safe for children to have these decision-making capacities without involving parents, but they don't have that right. Parents do not have that right in the state of Washington if that bill is signed into law, further eroding the biological connection between parent and child. Again. So here's Reichtel telling Cairo News Radio that ICE raids are affecting school enrollment. That is... I'm sorry, I have to sit on this one for just a moment. Just a moment. Okay, go ahead.
So far, we've not heard of actual apprehensions on school campuses.
Oh, okay. All right.
But it's already impacting some school districts' enrollments because families are so worried about separation.
Okay, are we sure that's the issue, Chris Reichtel? Or is it just something you want us to believe politically because that's all you're motivated by? You're energized by politics. You're at leftist politics. That's all you had. Oh, okay. Well, there's a dearth of students now because of, what was that again? I just want to make sure.
We want to give them all the information we have to the federal government, make sure they understand that it's our state law that we're following, not some independent official's will here.
Oh, you mean you? Here he is on the ICE raids again.
So far, we've not heard of actual apprehensions on school campuses, but it's already impacting some school districts' enrollments because families are so worried about separation.
Right. Okay. Let's go through a couple of reasons why that might be. Let's just think about that. He told Cairo, okay, ICE raids are affecting school enrollment. Okay. How do we know that? Okay, because fewer kids are showing up. Do we know why they are not showing up? Is it because of ICE raids, or is it because their parents self-deported? Or maybe they moved. Or maybe they're truants. But I can guarantee you, the only reason these guys care about that is for political reasons. One. Two, they don't get the money for each seat that's filled on a daily basis. That's another issue for them, for this guy anyway. And then, as you've heard him say before, he will cooperate with the feds, but he's just following the state law. Chris Reichdahl seems like he should be smarter, right? Has he never heard of the supremacy clause? Oh, see, the thing is that they go, well, Donald Trump put out an executive order. Well, that's not in the Constitution. Well, neither are government schools either. But here we are, and those are in our way of doing things in federal law. And so it is with the executive order saying we're going to get rid of people, boys out of girls' locker rooms, boys out of girls' spaces, boys out of girls' teams. Because there are only two genders, two sexes, girl and boy. Okay. So that's what we know because that's science, right? But now he says that, hey man, sure, his EO is wrong and that's extrajudicial. But me following state law, that's not extrajudicial. Really? Which law are you going to follow?
We want to give them all the information we have to the federal government, make sure they understand that it's our state law that we're following, not some independent official's will here.
They will certainly understand the minute I tell them, hey, it ain't me, man. I'm just following the law. It's not my fault. I'm just following the law. Yeah, sure. You know what? This is an interesting little factoid. Implicit in the Parents' Bill of Rights is also an attendant coda, and that is this. Hey, local school districts, if you don't follow what I tell you you have to do with respect to boys and girls locker rooms, with respect to boys in bathrooms, boys on teams, if you don't follow my orders, says Chris Reichdahl, you will give up 20% of your funding from the state. Or else. Now, wait a minute. I thought that they remember, hold on a second. I could swear that there were a bunch of people on the streets saying, this is not what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. Yeah, so thanks. Is this Jason's little device here, this little thing here? Or is that yours?
It's not mine.
This is what democracy looks like. I'm having way too much fun. I apologize for having too much fun while telling you. I have to blow off steam, okay? Just a little bit because I'll get angry. We can't get angry. We got to get even. So anyway, Trump can't do that. Trump can't tell, I don't know, the UW or UC system or any other school that, hey, listen, you better get right with Title IX or we're going to take away your funding. He can't do that. That's not the way it's supposed to work. He's running against the Constitution. He's doing things in objection to the Constitution. I object. And yet he's doing the same thing. Yeah. Okay. Just wanted to make sure that everybody knew that. Oh, we're still trending, aren't we? Well, let's find out what else is trending.
What's trending? Let's get political.
Yeah. So the other day at the cabinet meeting in Washington, D.C., Marco Rubio, who is now doing double duty as the Secretary of State and the National Security Advisor for now, told those listening, including the media, that he found documents pertaining to a particular cabinet member that exposes State Department censorship. Gee, did everyone not know that the State Department was censoring things? We're pretty well aware of that. He was shocked because it was just so overt.
Something else we got out of the business of wasn't widely reported, or maybe it was. We had an office in the Department of State whose job it was to censor Americans. Yeah. And by the way, I'm not going to say who it is. I'll leave it up to them. There's at least one person at this table today who had a dossier in that building of social media posts to identify them as purveyors of disinformation. We have these dossiers. We are going to be turning those over to these individuals.
Me or Elon? We can follow up with the media story.
Well, we are going to turn over these dossiers to the individuals, and they'll decide whether they want to disclose it or not. But just think about it. The Department of State of the United States had set up an office to monitor the social media posts and commentary of American citizens to identify them as vectors of disinformation, when we know that the best way to combat disinformation is freedom of speech and transparency. And so that's what we're going to be in the business of doing. We're not going to have an office that does that.
That's what democracy looks like. See, they laughed. This is what democracy looks like, spying on our citizens, especially since it's probably Tulsi Gabbard, who is the DNI now. And I just hope that in that role as the head of the spooks for the entire government, that she sticks it to him. She sticks it to every stinking person who participated in that anti-American program. Speaking of censorship, here's RFK Jr. on how Biden censored him. He's on with Dr. Phil. Listen to this.
I sued the Biden administration, and I won that lawsuit. And what we found through discovery was that 37 hours after President Biden took the oath of office, swearing to uphold the Constitution, he appointed a group in the White House to censor me and other people. But I was the first one censored. And and we now have the emails between him and this group and Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah. So here we go. There's Facebook. All right. On the dole, picking up the phone, doing whatever the president told him to do. Keep listening.
And other people at Twitter, et cetera, which Elon, made public. And thank God for him. And I don't think we'd have free speech in this country if it wasn't for Elon Musk, because he opened up Twitter and he allowed people to see what was actually happening. Yeah.
And, I worked for, and I still work for an organization, a publication that's a long-standing publication. It's a goofy title, PJ Media, but that was because that's when it started out in the early 2000s. And, we're an opinion site. And we were so throttled that we almost died, which was the point. Because if you mock the king gets angry and the king sends his minions after you to shut you down and shut you up. It's exactly what happened to us. But we're surviving. We are. But not for lack of trying did they come after us. Then we find out that in addition to what Robert F. Kennedy says, and let's just finish up with what he had to say.
By the way, against the advice of all of his attorneys, He turned all these documents over to a bunch of journalists and said, do what you want with them.
Yeah.
And those were the Twitter files. And out of the Twitter files, what we found was that the FBI was having weekly meetings with Twitter, then Facebook, and other social media avenues to censor, throttle, and otherwise, censor and put in a black site somewhere, stuff they didn't want you to know. Among those things were unfavorable things they didn't want out about COVID-19, such as, these masks, they really don't work. Even though Fauci said it, he later recanted, and then all of a sudden it became verboten to say anything online. He also said other things that at first, hey, we don't have enough PPE, so you don't need all that stuff. And, go ahead, just give that to make sure the hospitals have enough of that stuff. Remember, because China was making all of it. And Trump's trying to stop that. He's trying to get Americans to make that so that never happens to us again. It leaves us in a lurch like that, a national security breach like that. Okay, so that happened. And in addition to that, of course, it was the Hunter Biden laptop story, which came out before the election. Well, I'm sorry. It would have come out before the election, but the fact was that they throttled, censored, and ditched it. And anyone who tried to purvey that message was also throttled and ditched and suspended. Zuckerberg was suspending people right and left. And the left this is what the left considers the right thing to do. That's exactly right. Censorship. That's exactly what it looks like to them. As long as the right voices get out, then that's okay. Instead of saying, you know what, I may not agree with you, but there should be more speech, not less. All right. Also trending. Oh, I have to go, don't I? Do I have to go? No, I don't. I can also trend.
What's trending? The economy.
Okay. This is an economic story? Okay. All right. I thought it was the gun safety story. Be that as it may. I'll do something on the economy right now. Let's just go through our list of all the new taxes that the Washington State Democrats have passed this legislative session, where they sine-died, which means they left, and it also killed your pocketbook. That's basically what happened. And as a result, you have to come up with like $4,000. If Ferguson signs everything, you have to come up with another $4,000 a year to be able to pay your bills. And so, that's it. Let's see. We imposed the excise taxes. I wasn't there, and I didn't do it. I would never have approved these things. Let me just put the lie to everything. We had to do it. We had to, we were going to run out of money. We had to increase penalties and fees and regulation, and we had to increase taxes. There was nothing else we could do, the Democrats said. But that was a big, fat lie. There was no deficit. There was nothing. They projected, hey, you know what? If we don't raise taxes, hold on, we might have a deficit in 4 years. That was a projection. And you know what happened? If Washington State had done nothing, had neither raised nor dropped taxes, they would have had more than enough money in 4 years. There would have not been a supposed projected deficit. They could have held still. But no, Democrats wanted to keep spending. So here's what you're going to be spending for their purposes. You are going to hand over, $250 million. And, this is the B&O tax. So it's going to be more than that, 20% tax hike for businesses. Okay. Now, when a business has its taxes hiked and its costs hiked, who pays for that? I heard that. Yes, that is correct. You do. And you pay for that sandwich. It's another nickel or whatever. It's another additional charge or whatever. The capital gains are going up. School district property taxes are going up. Gas and transportation taxes are going way up. B&O tax, mentioned that. Sales taxes going up. Excise tax going up. Capital gains tax going up. Let's see. But they're setting this. This is an interesting thing. Eliminates, I read here, this is from Washington Policy Center, eliminates certain tax incentives. Listen to this. Including those for gold and bullion, low-income energy credits, and storage spaces. There's a tax on storage spaces. But there's also a tax on, it eliminates the tax help for having assets in gold bullion, which means that they're just setting the table for that wealth tax that they didn't pass this time, but they're going to do it another time. They're setting the table for that. And if you think I'm wrong, well, great. Dissuade me. Go ahead, try. Oh, yeah, if you want to go to the parks and hike, you've heard about this, that the Discover Pass is up by 50 cents. 50%, I'm sorry. Did I say 50 cents? 50%. What is it? What is it? How much a year? Is it, $75 or something like that?
Something like that, yeah.
Okay, it's going up. Going up by another, I don't know, so it's going to be about 100, something like that. Shifts the healthcare costs from state my favorite one. I just forgot to ask Jim about this today. And you'll hear his interview with me coming up in the next hour. But the one that is just galling, incredibly galling, is this.
Oh, the Discover Pass, by the way.
Yes.
I think it's $30 right now. They're hiking it up $15 to $45.
Oh, $45. Oh, well, they think you won't notice. Hell, you're driving a Suzuki. You're gonna be fine. Little, whatever. Are the Suzukis even made anymore? What am I thinking of?
I feel like I haven't seen one in a long time.
I feel like I haven't seen one either. And it came out of my mouth and I was like, what? Don't worry. I'm in my full, I'm not losing my mind. It's fine. One story that just, as I said, galled me, and it was this, that now you, as a taxpayer, have to pay for the unemployment insurance for government unions. You have to pay unemployment insurance for them when they go on strike. They can choose to go on strike, but you have to pay for their unemployment. We don't have to. We shouldn't be doing that. They have strike pay, but unions, man, they want to pocket that money, and the Democrats and their friends, they want you to pay for it. I mean, to my way of thinking, what do you need government unions for if you're just going to pay for everything for them? Get rid of them. Oh, did I say that out loud? There is one law that I thought was pretty good that passed in the session. I'll tell you about that coming up. Victoria Taft, in for Jason Rantz, AM 770 KTTH.
Seattle's best conservative talk radio lineup is growing. And it ain't just growing, it's getting louder and pulling no punches.
What's up, Seattle? It's Dana Lash. Join us on AM 770 KTTH for The Dana Show. Weekdays from 9 to noon.
It's a new chapter for AM 770 KTTH.
Stream The Dana Show live on the KTTH smartphone app.
Weekday mornings 9 to noon on AM 770 KTTH. Conservative Talk Radio.
And now here's Growing Your Wealth, presented by Madrona Financial Services. Here's Brian Evans.
Today I want to talk about something called leveraged life insurance. As we look at passive investment options, we can invest in bonds, real estate, stock market, insurance company products, and cash equivalents. So this is in the insurance company product. Insurance companies can offer things like annuities for safe accumulation or for lifetime cash flow. They can also offer permanent life insurance. So this is where that lies. Now with permanent life insurance, you can hold it just for the life insurance benefits for your heirs, but most people that buy permanent life insurance that I deal with are looking for a way to provide themselves tax-free cash flow in their own retirement. I have not met a lot of people that don't think that's a good idea. You mean I can have cash flow in retirement and I don't pay income tax on it while I have life insurance coverage too? Yes, you can have that. If you pass a physical and properly funded it and you give your insurance policy time is one of the most important things with permanent life insurance. So don't buy one if you're 80 years old. It won't work. So while you're doing that thing, you might go, okay, well, that makes a lot of sense. I'd like to have some cash flow. Well, you can leverage that. banks are willing to, under the right circumstances, lend money to fund your policies. So you can kind of supercharge your potential results by having bank financing. Now, there will be interest charged against your policy value against that. So make sure your interest charge is less than your projected earnings. But if you do that, much like real estate, leveraged real estate, you can potentially supercharge your leveraged life insurance.
Even the mightiest of trees can be blown over if they don't have strong roots. And the same is true for your investment plan. Can your plan withstand a financial storm? Go to MadronaFinancial.com and get started to request your rooted wealth analysis. You can also click on the chat button and ask us anything. We have a searchable library with answers to your questions. Visit MadronaFinancial.com.
Hey, it's Jason Rantz. I'm here with our local tax expert and advocate, Greg Nunn of None Better Tax Resolution. When you're dealing with business owners and the idea that they owe money to the IRS and they feel like they might be letting their staff down, and it just spirals out of control.
One thing I see with businesses, it's really tough because they have employees and maybe they're having a difficult time with the cash flow of the business. Then unfortunately, what a business often does is they quit making their payroll tax deposits, which is really about the worst thing you could be doing. I mean, it's a telltale sign if you're doing that. Hey, get someone that can help you kind of look at your business and see if things can be changed so that you can operate your business better and make those payroll tax deposits. Because let me tell you this, the IRS is on those right away.
We have a new administration under Donald Trump. Some might assume that the IRS will get less aggressive, but the reality is if you owe money, whether you're an individual or business owner, they will still come to collect.
They're absolutely going to still come to collect because they have made so many modifications to their systems, letters, and various ways to follow up with taxpayers. That's not going to stop. I mean, they got to get their return on investment of all those changes they made. And remember, their objective is, hey, if you owe money, we want it.
There are a lot of do-it-yourselfers, and I totally get that. I am one of them. But when it comes to the IRS, I'm definitely not going to do that.
Look, if you're an individual person or a business and you try to deal with the IRS on your own, let me just say this. There's so many nuances and so many stories people will tell just to get to where they want to, and that is put you in a corner where they can then get money out of you, even though there's a lot of solutions that may not require that.
If you're having trouble with the IRS, you have to call Greg Nunn of None Better Tax Resolution. From stress to success with IRS Solutions. 425-947-1967 or Google NUNN. None Better Tax Resolution.
770 KTTH is with you everywhere. It's the KTTH app, the Pacific Northwest's best conservative conversations, debates, insight and analysis, and the conservative voices you trust.
House Judiciary Chairman Jim Jordan.
How you doing, Jason? Good to be with you.
The KTTH app, right at your fingertips, wherever, whenever.
100% in favor of that.
The KTTH app, conservative, talk radio, and so much more.
This hour is brought to you by the Northwest Safe Company.
Yelm, Tacoma, Bremerton, Bothell.
This is the Big Local on the Jason Rantz Show.
Redmond, Sumner, Kent.
Stories about you, not about Seattle.
Good afternoon, Victoria in for Jason Rantz. And the Big Local is brought to you by Alpine Specialty Services. Still taking your text messages at 800-465-8770. One of the listeners called in or texted in and said, hey, what about that property tax? Because the property taxes went up big time in the state of Washington. If Bob Ferguson signs that pile of poo. And so somebody says, well, what about that bill? What about that bill that would exempt any persons over 75 years of age from state and local property tax? It went to the round file, friend. It went to the round file. Yeah. Ha. It is time for the Big Local. Let's find out what's going on, shall we? In Tacoma, there was, every once in a while we have to give the cops an attaboy, attagirl. Don't you agree, Jackson? We have.
Absolutely.
Did I give him much of a choice to say anything other than absolutely? Of course. Here's a, body cam footage. You can't see it, but you can hear it. Of them Tacoma police saving a man from a burning car. Ha!
Frank 263 arriving. It's like the vehicle's fully engulfed in a tree and a fence to a residence as well. Hey, come here. Get out here.
He's trying to get the door open.
Inside. Can you climb over? Come here. Give me your hands. Give me your hands. We're going to pull you out of there, all right? Come on. Come on. Can you get on the other side and get his legs? Kick your feet. Kick your feet, bud. Kick your feet. All right, come on. Okay, we got it. Come on. Pull. Come on. Pull.
Got him out of the car. Still need help.
Come on. Hey, you okay, bud? We're going to drag you out here a little further. Watch his paws. You stand up. Watch the paws.
Yeah, try to lift me up a little bit.
Watch his light wires. Tree. Go. We got to get away from this car, brother. Anybody else in there?
Wires down the roadway.
Well done, Tacoma police officers.
Got the
Well
driver out,
done.
no other occupants.
Thank you. That's awesome. Just wanted to let you hear it. Right on. In Bellevue, a man yelled racial slurs and threatened to kill a family, in a road rage incident, which sounds like he's completely tethered. Oh, wait. Bellevue Police Captain Take two. Bellevue Police Captain Landon Barnwell spoke to Como News. Here's what he said happened.
It was a close collision that they were almost involved in. And I think there was a verbal confrontation, and then a firearm, was displayed. They were able to at least get inside, again, in a safer area, and then dial 911.
So somebody brandished a weapon in a near-miss traffic accident. Well, it was a miss, but you know what I mean. We've taken to calling them near misses when they're near collisions. And so, Pierce County Sheriff opposes that's a different one. So here is Bellevue residents Lena and Sarah Khalidi. They say that this is very troubling that this happened to them. And let's find out if they actually tell us what happened.
It's really scary and concerning.
I mean, there's a high school right there. There's a ton of kids here all the time. Not good.
Yeah, I feel like that's really traumatizing for the children, and I feel like no one should really have to go through that or have to experience that.
Yeah, well, me neither. But, that kind of stuff happens sometimes. But when it gets where somebody's brandishing a weapon, whoa, they've just escalated. We go to now Pierce County, where the sheriff opposes the council's immigration enforcement resolution. Sheriff Keith Swank says that his office is independent of the council. He will march to the beat of his own drum.
If the council thinks they can get involved in telling me what I can and what I can't do as the independently elected sheriff, they're sadly mistaken. I'm against it, and I want it to be brought forward to the U.S. Supreme Court so they'll rule on it so that we can determine where we should go with it.
Okay, so what he's talking about is the fact that he is his own person in elected position, and the county commission may think that they have sway over him, and they can probably withhold funds from him. I don't remember how that works exactly, but what I will tell you is he's saying, no, I'm not going to follow along and not pick up people who are illegal aliens if they happen to be in the path of officers and they're gangsters. And of course, now Pierce County doesn't want him to do that because Pierce County says that they really like illegal aliens and they love the gang members who are from the New Generation Cartel, which just happens to have been elevated to a terrorist organization. And as we all know, the New Generation Cartel, which I think it replaces the Sinaloa cartel. Anyway, or I'm sure that El Chapo wouldn't like that. But nevertheless, sorry, aren't you in prison or something? You don't even care. And so the thing is that this has taken over. This New Generation cartel has taken over Jalisco New Generation, and it has become a huge concern. Indeed, its presence is in Pierce County. It's in every major city in Washington. And what they do is they use their power to traffic in humans and drugs. Anyway, Swank says he's getting conflicting orders from the state and federal governments, and so he's throwing up the white flag for a moment.
I have people from the federal government saying you're supposed to enforce immigration law violations. I have people from the state government saying that you're not allowed to do it. And so I'm getting pulled both ways.
Yeah, well, the Pierce County Council member, Brian Gamby, says that this resolution that they've passed in Pierce County that says we don't want you to roll up any bad guys if they happen to be illegal aliens, like, I don't know, Jalisco New Generation cartel members. Well, we don't want them to be rolled up because we want to build trust, because they won't kill us if they can trust us.
Unless it's required by law or court order. We are still going after criminals, and we are still going after people who are a threat to public safety and making our communities less safe.
What a big pile of poo there, buddy. Brian, does Brian sound like a computer?
Oh, he is kind of a drone, yeah.
Nobody's been happy with it.
Oh, wait, doggone it. I keep going on. Now hold on here. Brian, tell me, Brian.
Unless it's required by law or court order. We are still going after.
I feel like we should have some background noise. I'm sorry. Am I giving you too much to do? I need background noise that will let us know that he's a robot. Oh, I know. Wait, hold on. Hello? Oh, no, I can't do it anymore. Jason, you're Dealy Bob here. Hello? Hello? I am a computer. Brian Yamby. Let's see what else he has to say.
For criminals, and we are still going after people who are a threat to public safety and making our communities less safe.
A threat to public safety and making our communities less safe. Okay. Buddy, if you don't roll up the bad guys who are trafficking humans, irrespective of where they're from, then you're not doing your job. Let us go to Renton now, where residents are losing their homes for a new Renton school, and they're complaining how the district is handling the process. Eminent domain. Isn't it fun? Renton resident Kenneth Green doesn't think the neighbors are getting a fair shake.
Nobody's been happy with it. Everybody's dealing with it, being bullied, being pressured, not being explained what my rights are, value of what they want to give us versus what the prices are in the area, and new mortgage rates don't add up. They're not close. And we bought this house specific location. My youngest, who's in the 8th grade, might not be going to Renton High School now because we might not be living across the street. And our daughter found out in her senior year what was happening, so that kind of spoiled it for her. She's thinking about prom and whatnot and losing her house to the school that she actually loved.
Well, now hold on now, Kenneth. Just slow down, slow your roll, because, are they really going to tear your house down or take it immediately, or do we have a little time here, to build a new school? That takes time, right? Or getting permissions and that sort of thing through the government, although we all know how much the government takes care of its own. I got it. But, hold on. And by the way, eminent domain, you need to get yourself an attorney. And all the homeowners need to lawyer up. Get one guy, gal. It's okay. Just to make sure that you get what you deserve, because you're supposed to get the market value for your home under eminent domain. Now, unless there's some other chicanery going on, I don't understand why you would be upset by the amount of money they're offering you for your home. So I think it's time to lawyer up, my friend. Think it's time to lawyer up. What else is trending? I don't know. We have time though, right? I got a minute? Good. Guess what? So here we have something completely far away from Washington State. That's right. And it's this. It is our friend Van Jones on CNN yesterday. And Van Jones went out. He's a commie. He's a self-admitted commie. He was Obama's green jobs czar. And he got, how many green jobs does that guy put up? Did he, how did he do with that? The number of green jobs. How many, Van Jones, how many green jobs did he get created? Did the government create that? Are we at what, 0? I see your fingers are flying over there, Jackson. Are you looking it up? I bet he is. He's probably AIing it, which is fine. As long as you check the sources. Use AI, by all means, then check it. Double check the sources. Anyway, so Van Jones went out and said, hey, you black voters that we keep being told don't like Donald Trump, Why would you vote for him?
If you had to do it all over again, would you vote for Donald Trump again, yes or no?
Yes, I would. Now, in the future, I am not a diehard Democrat or diehard Republican. If there were a Democratic candidate who was more aligned for me, then I would vote Democrat.
If you go back in time, would you vote for Donald Trump, yes or no?
Yes.
I think I might know the answer on this thing.
She said yes. It's immediately yes. No, I'm sorry.
If you had to do it all over again, would you vote for Donald Trump, yes or no?
1,000% absolutely yes.
What? Why is that? I can't believe you'd say that. He goes on and asks him a few more questions, but there's potty talk in one of the answers, so I imagine it's probably the better part of valor not to play that one. Nice texts. I appreciate it. Here's one. Yes, I don't regret voting for DT. So relieved. Not so scared as when Trendeagra was in Colorado. Victoria, I always enjoy listening to you when you're in for Jason. Thank you. Appreciate that very much. Yeah. Awesome. Appreciate the well wishes coming back to you in a few minutes. It's going to be Choose Your News. So what are we going to do? Luigi Mangione musical set to debut or Neil Young for his new anti-Tesla song? You choose the news. Text 800-465-8770 and we'll tell you all about it. Coming up next, Victoria on Jason Show, 770 KTTH.
With Progressive, renters can save on protection for the things that make your place yours, even things that don't make sense to everyone.
People always wonder why I don't get rid of my guitar since I never play. But it's like, what if I actually end up taking lessons? Sure, I've had it for 8 years, but if I get rid of it, then what will my New Year's resolution be next January?
Exactly. So bundle your renters and auto and save with Progressive and protect the things that make sense to you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates and other insurers not available in all states or situations. Covered subject to policy terms and conditions.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular to get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or consumercellular.com and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for autopay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Imagine finding your dream home and moving in right away. No waiting to sell your old place first. Sounds perfect, right? That's exactly what Orchard's Move First, Sell Later program lets you do. Buy your new home now and sell the old one later. Here's how it works. Orchard gives you cash so you can buy and move into your new home first on your timeline. No waiting, no showings, no double moves. Then the Orchard experts take it from there. They handle repairs on your old home for you so you attract the right buyers. Once they're done, a local Orchard agent lists and sells your home for top dollar. Orchard's Move First program gives you the freedom to buy and move into your new home first and sell your old home later. Buy before you sell and get top dollar for your home with Orchard. Ready to find out how much your home is worth? Visit Orchard.com to get your free home valuation. That's Orchard.com.
Homeowners, stop what you're doing right now and listen up, because Puget Sound Energy has new rebates that have never been this high. If insufficient insulation or no insulation at all in your crawl space or attic are impacting your energy bills, now's the time to get your free inspection from Northwest Crawl Space Services, because these PSC rebates could pay for up to 95% of your project, and that could mean thousands of dollars in savings on your job. But make sure you hire a crawl space company that's PSC certified, because not every company can offer these rebates. Don't miss out. Call today, and the team from Northwest Crawl Space Services are happy to give you a free energy savings consultation. Northwest Crawl Space Services will get rid of the critters, re-insulate your home, and hook you up with big-time savings and PSC rebates. Remember, these guys can solve any crawl space or attic problem, no exceptions. See if you qualify for savings from PSC. Go to NWCrawlspace.com Squarespace.com.
I'm attorney Rob Iddens, proud Marine Corps veteran and owner of Warrior Injury Law. If you've been injured, you need a lawyer that is tough, confident, and battle-tested. Call us at 253-WARRIOR for your free case review. Warrior Injury Law. Battle-tested.
Have you or someone you know gotten sticker shock from high-priced sewer repair? Second Opinion Sewer provides you with truth and transparency, ensuring you feel informed and confident in every decision. From routine inspections to emergency repairs, a dedicated team of professionals is here to help you. Always get a second opinion and make sure Second Opinion Sewer is one of them. Visit secondopinionsewer.com and see why customers put trust in them. Second Opinion Sewer. A second set of eyes is always wise.
Hey, this is Pete from Home Matters. Tune in this weekend when we'll talk with local business owners about everything in and around your home. Join us on Saturdays from 2 to 3 right here on AM 770 KTTH or listen to the podcast on mynorthwest.com.
Armstrong and Getty on KTTH.
The Trump administration has launched a probe of Harvard's Law Review's racial preferences. Their own report on anti-Semitism is scathing that politicized instruction in 4 of the Harvard schools, quote, mainstreamed and normalized what many Jewish and Israeli students experienced as anti-Semitism.
Armstrong and Getty, mornings 6 to 10 on AM 770 KTTH and the KTTH app. You pick the topic on the Jason Rantz Show.
Well, we put it to you, and we said, hey, which story do you want us to highlight? Neil Young's new anti-Tesla song story, or would you like us to talk a little bit about the Luigi Mangione musical set to debut next month? And a massive number of people said, they said, hey, we want to hear about Neil Young's new song, his anti-Tesla song, which, of course, now I can't pull up the story, but I can pull the song up for you. He doesn't like Elon Musk. This just in. Neil Young has, I think he's just kind of lost his way. Like, you know how it is when people just become untethered a little bit, where they get so emotionally wrapped up that they can't see anything else other than their bigotry. That's where Neil is. He's actually in the place where he is so set in his ways, he's calcified. Very sad. Very, very sad. Anyway, here's Neil's song about Tesla. Here's a little snippet for you. You gonna play it? Oh, he's still pulling it. Oh, fine. Well, that doesn't help us now, does it? Well, I tell you all about it, but you know that story that we have doesn't actually open up. So, no, I apologize. And I was doing this on the break. I really, really was. I was checking your messages, and I was doing this on the break. So Neil's having a little conniption fit, and I want to tell you everything there is to know about it. Here we go. Daily Variety. All right. Neil Young slams Elon Musk and fascist Tesla drivers in new single. Announces first album with Chrome Hearts. Oh, okay. Great job there. Neil Young is now gearing up to release a new record, the collection called Talkin' to Trees. And on his Talkin' to Trees album, he's going to be talking to trees with Big Change, Let's Roll Again. And the latter, Let's Roll Again, takes aim at billionaire Elon Musk and his electric car company with lyrics like, if you're a fascist, then get a Tesla. If it's electric, it doesn't matter. If you're a Democrat, then taste your freedom. Get whatever you want and taste your freedom.
Right, want to hear it now?
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Begrudgingly.
I've told them some of the lyrics. Now you can listen to them all yourself. Okay, stop for a second. I'm glad I said the lyrics, aren't you? Because nobody could actually make out what he's actually
It's pretty
saying.
inaudible, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Keep going. I'm glad people didn't say, hey, Victoria, do the Luigi Mangione musical that starts next month and is sold out for its entire, whatever, who knows how long it is. It's multiple days. But because I don't want to highlight a murderer who he killed somebody in cold blood.
Allegedly.
Let me just put it this way. We have Luigi Mangione, or a man who looks exactly like him, on video, murdering with a suppressor on his handgun a United Healthcare CEO, father of two, estranged husband, and he took the gun and he held it up to his back and then shot him at point blank range. And I thought to myself, can we not aggrandize people like this? This is just sickening. But apparently, according to the left. And so I thought, well, okay, let's do Neil Young. And I was, obviously you said you wanted Neil Young too. Neil Young, incredibly gifted musician, has lost his mind. However, I feel like when you're there calling someone a fascist in a song, that's like turning on a green light and saying, come after this guy. Sort of like how they did that with Trump, where he's a fascist, he's Hitler, everything he does is anti-constitutional, extra-constitutional, or unconstitutional. We must do something about this man. Of course, then three tried to kill him. One almost succeeded. I mean, can we just stop with this hyperbolic language about that? Can we just stop? I don't know. Just play us out with Neil's song. Just a little bit more. He's ignoring me. You poop. Oh, jeez. Okay, fine. We'll get this song. Dun, dun. Victoria Taft coming up in the next hour. Lots of talk on tariffs. What does it mean? How do they work? And what happened in the session this last year or this last couple of months in Washington State? What it means to you? Get another job. That's what it's going to mean to you. Back in a minute.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear. Call me Papa Bear, because I'm grilling up dinner. Do you get it?
Yes, good job.
So, what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out. Put them in a metal container because those embers can start a wildfire.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha, 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 ha.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Is reviewing life insurance on your to-do list? Now's the perfect time to add it. A friend recently told me that securing life insurance sooner rather than later can help you lock in lower rates for years to come. So I bumped this up on my list and got it done. I called SelectQuote and couldn't believe how easy and affordable life insurance is. I'm 40 and got a $500,000 policy for $16 a month. My husband's also 40 and his $500,000 policy was only $18 a month. Plus, with SelectQuote's same-day coverage, there was no medical exam required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. Knowing I have this checked off my list feels amazing, but the peace of mind knowing my family is protected feels even better.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-694-1010. That's 1-800-694-1010. Or go to SelectQuote.com to get your free quote today. 1-800-694-1010. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
Hi, it's John Curley. Longevity Medical Clinic is your best plan for long-term well-being and personalized health care. Dr. Mixon, let me ask you a question. How long have some of your patients been working with you?
And we've got patients now that have been with us for over 20 years that are in their 90s who came to us in their 60s. The grandparents now in their 90s are living independently. They're not on walkers, they're not on canes, they're not headed for nursing homes.
I meet people and they ask about, wow, you're in great shape. You have 12% body fat and stuff. What's the secret? I said, it's not a secret. Longevity Medical Clinic has been there for 25 years. There is no secret to the fact that if you make those small changes, you avoid the big, bad, horrible stuff that most of us just think, well, this is what's supposed to happen to me.
And if you're heading downhill and you don't change your direction, you're going to continue going downhill. And what we do at Longevity is we redirect you and we take you back up the hill.
So get your free health analysis. Go to longevitymedicalclinic.com. That's longevitymedicalclinic.com.
KTTH Seattle, 97.3 KIRO FM, HD3 Tacoma, Seattle, K233BU Seattle, and K233DT Eastlake.
Division. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. Not all Republicans are in favor of President Trump's slimmed-down budget proposal.
The plan has a top-line spending level of $1.7 trillion with $892 billion in discretionary defense spending. An Office of Management and Budget official says the plan is to reach $1 trillion in defense spending by adding an additional $150 billion through President Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill. But not all Republicans are on board. Senate Armed Services Committee Chairman Roger Wicker says OMB advisors were apparently not listening to President Trump's peace through strength messaging. Wicker argues including the $150 billion in a separate bill will decrease President Trump's military options and his negotiating leverage.
Fox's Ryan Schmelz in Washington. The president, in an interview with NBC News Meet the Press set to air Sunday, said the U.S. economy is in a transition period, but he expects it to be doing fantastically. Wall Street extended its gains today, but the markets have been volatile after tariffs are placed on nearly every trading partner. The Trump administration is nearing a settlement in a wrongful death suit from the family of a woman shot during the 2021 Capitol riot.
Attorneys for the Justice Department and lawyers for the estate of Ashley Babbitt have a tentative deal to settle a wrongful death lawsuit filed last year. Details are still being worked out and a final agreement has not been signed, but lawyers say the deal would settle a $30 million suit brought by family members of Babbitt. The 35-year-old Air Force veteran was shot to death by a U.S. Capitol police officer as she tried climbing through a door near the House chamber. The officer was cleared of any wrongdoing. Federal prosecutors say he acted in self-defense and in defense of lawmakers.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House. The Army's confirmed there will be a military parade on President Trump's birthday next month as part of the celebrations of the service's 250th birthday. America's listening to Fox News.
Millions of Americans take medicine like Ozempic and Zepbound. Many of them are overpaying by thousands of dollars a year. These GLP-1 medications for diabetes, weight loss, and more may not always be covered by your insurance, but GoodRx can help. GoodRx helps you save every month on prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, it's free to use. Check GoodRx to save on GLP-1s. Just go to GoodRx.com/GLP. That's GoodRx.com/GLP. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
Sometimes an identity threat is a ring of professional hackers. And sometimes it's an overworked accountant who forgot to encrypt their connection while sending bank details.
I need a coffee.
And you need LifeLock because your info is in endless places. It only takes one mistake to expose you to identity theft. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
The yellow light! I'm walking here!
Good Friday afternoon. Victoria Taft with you, in for Jason Rantz. How's it going? You're going to have a great weekend. This is when you got to get your garden in. I mean, that's what I'm doing because I live such a high and flying life. Yeah, why not? Big news yesterday from Stephen Miller. I absolutely love this guy. He works for the Trump administration. He's so incredibly sharp. And we'll hear from him and how he talked about what's going on immigration-wise. And I just like the fact that he says what's on his mind. Now, you heard the Tesla song, the anti-Tesla song. Everybody just loved it. In fact, everybody at 800-465-8770 loved it. And actually, they didn't. I got just one message a second ago. That song sucked. Yes. Well, play a little bit more of it, won't you? Because you didn't play us out. Do you still have that over there, that awful song? Oh, good Lord. I mean, just stand by here. Just stand by. We got this. It's going to be fantastic to laugh at. I mean. Da, 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 da. Da, da, da. Oh, it's going to take a second. Okay, fine. Anyway, so Neil Young, a gifted musician. Let's not forget Neil Young solo, Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young, tuneful, virtuosity is his, not this one, though.
You're a Democrat. It's your freedom. And whatever you want. Taste your freedom.
Okay, thanks, Neil. Thanks. That was perfect. Perfect timing. Well, anyway, so we've learned that crazy words will get people to do just about anything. And as we've learned, there are people who are so soft in the head that they will do anything, illegal though it may be, to bring, make a political point. The point is that Tesla bad, even though, of course, it's been feted for years. It's been, Elon could do no wrong. Let's just bow at the altar of Elon. And of course, some people on the right are doing it. I know. SpaceX. Thank you. Well, actually, I do thank him very much for helping to save free speech by getting people to report on the Twitter files. Anyway, I would say that you can talk anybody into doing nearly anything. For example, a teacher. Here, it's very interesting. A teacher has decided that she wants the Secret Service to kill President Trump. And so she put it out on her social media. And she's still employed. She's actually given chapter and verse on how she would like the Secret Service to take out Donald Trump. Now, you might think that this Maine teacher, who's Maine high school teacher, Maine, would be perhaps put on a psych hold, or she might be checked out, to make sure everything's, there aren't any mice running around her noggin. She, wants people to off the president, and she's still got a job teaching children and molding their minds. Okay? So that's what's going on. She is similar to the nutter who you remember the guy in St. Louis who burned up the Teslas, firebombed them actually, after Pam Bondi said, hey, if you start using firebombs to go after Teslas, I have this I'd like to introduce you to the people at the Department of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosives. Thank you. Thank you very much. So anyway, the Tesla bomber he did 2 Tesla Cybertrucks. Then we find out that he also fired up 2 charging stations. He needed to go on, be let out of jail. And a judge said, hey, we'll let him out of jail. You know why? Because he's confused. Because he suffers from gender dysphoria. He looks like a chick. And he looks like he's trying to look like a chick. And he also bombed cars, and he's confused, and he's ADHD and autistic. And his parents let him go out of state to college, and now that he's burned up and firebombed Teslas, he's so confused that he needs to go finish his gender reassignment surgery while he's awaiting trial. And she said yes. That is how stupid this is getting. He needs to be in jail. I bet you anything. He'd actually do better in jail than he would outside.
The government wanted Owen McIntyre to spend the time before trial behind bars, but the judge in Boston sided with the defense in this case, which cited multiple medical issues facing the 19-year-old.
Honest to goodness. Can you believe that? Let him out. Let him out. because he was just a little, touched in the brain. So we got teachers, and we got these people who are so easily persuadable that they're willing to do anything, break laws, and hurt people in order to make a political point. Just remember that. When somebody says, at least Donald Trump's not doing that, give him a little credit for that. Okay. So we're going to step away, and then we're going to hear from Spencer Morrison. He's a guy who is a specialist, an expert on tariffs. Let's do that. One of the things that we've been confronting has been the incredible phalanx of bad news surrounding Donald Trump's tariffs and how he's trying to turn the U.S. economy from a government buoyed economy, something that's driven by government activity, to a privately held activity. And it's going to be a lift. There's no doubt about it. So how does free trade or these tariffs, equal trade, work to get things going again? And how long will it take? To get those questions answered, we've asked Spencer Morrison, who's the author of Reshore, How Tariffs Will Bring Our Jobs Home and Revive the American Dream. We've invited him on the Jason Rantz Show with Victoria Taft. And Spencer Morrison, thank you so much for coming on.
Hi, Victoria. It's my pleasure to be on the program.
Terrific to have you. Well, okay, so bad news for tariffs, or is it good news? And what do the week's job numbers tell you, if anything?
Well, I think tariffs are great news for America. And here's why. We got to put this in the historical context, all right? Starting in 1789, from the Tariff Act that George Washington passed, America was on track to have large tariffs. And America industrialized and grew prosperous and wealthy under a high tariff regime. In fact, tariffs in America were the highest in the world in the 1800s. This was a period during which America industrialized. So the script flipped starting in the 1970s. And every year since 1974, America's run a large chronic trade deficit. You know what the cumulative value of that deficit is? It's $25 trillion. $25 trillion were spent buying foreign products rather than building them at home in America. So America's missed out on an incredible amount of domestic investment. Mm-hmm. And as a result, the industries have been hollowed out. Over 5 million manufacturing jobs have been lost. Over 60,000 factories have gone offshore. And America is deficient in manufacturing critical products such as computer chips, such as ball bearings, even steel. We don't make enough of any of those products to satisfy domestic consumption. So America is in a really bad spot right now, and tariffs are going to reverse that process.
So some people would suggest that tariffs are a really bad thing, that indeed if we hadn't been doing all of this overseas investment for all these years, we would have had something worse happen to our country. We would have fallen into war because trade always is always better than war. How do you respond? How do you respond to those people? Because it seems to me we've been into a lot of wars recently, but is it just me or what?
Yeah, well, I don't think that an isolationist economic policy would lead to more conflict. In fact, I think it'd be precisely the opposite. If you look at the time in American history when America avoided foreign wars, well, look at it. It was the 1800s. And the reason for that is because when you're not trading and depending on foreign nations for critical manufactured goods or for critical products, there's no reason to fight them. Right? So America was at its most peaceful when the tariffs were higher because the American economy and the American people were isolated from global events. And the opposite thing has been happening in recent times. As America has become more integrated with the global economy and the global political system, there's been more conflict because there's been so many more flashpoints that can lead to conflict. So I totally disagree with that perspective. I think that, tariffs done properly will help America not only to become more economically self-sufficient and more prosperous, but from that, it'll be a good opportunity to sort of divest and back off from all of these global conflicts.
You said that we started going the wrong way in the 1970s. Was that Richard Nixon opening up China to the Western world?
Yeah. So it was the closing of the gold window in particular. That was a big turning
Which
point.
he also did.
Which he also did, and a big part of that is because once the gold window closed, we entered into a pure fiat currency era, and this allowed the government to essentially borrow unlimited money. But in order to have a market to buy American debt, there was a strong incentive to run a trade deficit. A lot of people don't understand this, but when we buy goods from a foreign country, we still have to pay for them. And if we're buying them in deficit, that means we're not paying with our own production. So there's only two ways to actually get those goods. We have to sell assets like real estate or stocks, or we have to sell debt like government bonds. So the shell game that's happened is America has been running a large trade deficit, and then that's created a lot of foreign demand for American debt. So in a very real way, the foreign trade deficit is funding the inflation of government. And that's why foreign entities now own 29% of America's national public debt, worth over $8 trillion. And we're paying them $300 billion a year for the privilege of buying their cheap goods.
The recent job numbers have shown us, I think, you're the expert here, but they've shown us that, hey, wait a minute, if you look at the GDP of America, which this week went down by a quarter, that actually was made up for, impacted by the reduction in the size of government. So actually, that's not such a bad thing. Am I just being Pollyannish about that? I've got a lot of flack for this, but I'm going to say it anyways. I think that tariffs are the small government option. Tariffs are the small government option because they prevent an unlimited supply of foreign capital that's greedily buying up American debt, which means that that's going to put a sort of a natural cap on the ability of the federal government to borrow money, as if there was a gold standard in place. So I think high tariffs are a really good way to sort of limit the scope and size of government. So I'm optimistic on that front, and I think anything that we can do to shrink the government is ultimately going to be a good thing. Mm-hmm. So okay, then the tariffs will begin later this year, presumably. How long will it take to make a huge impression or even a moderate impression on the U.S. economy to the good?
Yeah, I mean, it's anybody's guess. It really depends on the overall tariff rates. So here's the problem. There's sort of always two factions fighting about the tariffs. And the question is whether or not the tariffs are going to be used to reshore American industry, which means the tariffs have to be very high. Or if the tariffs if they're not high enough, then they're really just for revenue generation. So I think we have to be very, very careful of walking that line. If the tariffs are too low that they're not actually incentivizing American and foreign companies to reshore their production, then it's just a tax scam, and we can't have that. So I think we need to go all in on the tariffs and make them high, 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 because that's going to be what drives domestic investment. Right? Because if the tariffs are high enough that people want to avoid them, they're going to build their factories in America. They're going to employ American workers. And that's going, because people want to avoid the tariffs, right? But if the tariffs remain as they are right now, I think there's a sort of an idle rate of about 10%. If it's just 10%, that's not going to be enough to drive factories to reshore back to America. It's just going to raise revenue, which is, in my view, it's not optimal.
Right. I get that now. I mean, You've made me see the light, Spencer Morrison. You've made me see the light. So some of the companies that have said that they will come back or expand and that sort of thing in the United States, Intel, Taiwan Semiconductor, Micron, Apple, we've got other entities that have said, oh, yeah, no, we're going to make more cars here. We're not going to, BMW is expanding. All sorts of places have said they will expand. We've got people who are now going to invest in America in order to expand the use of getting energy for AI. Okay. All to the good, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's exactly what we want to see. The whole point of these tariffs is to stimulate capital investment in America. Mm-hmm. And you got to wonder, this goes all the way back to Adam Smith. Adam Smith wrote this great book. It's called The Wealth of Nations. And in that book, he considers how countries get rich. And one of the best, there's only a few ways countries get rich, but ultimately we're talking about capital accumulation. So how much machinery, how much education and experience the workforce has, that's human capital. So we have to increase our capital so that our economy can become more productive in the long run. And the only way that's going to happen is if we invest in America. Because if we invest in Chinese factories, or if we invest in training people in India to do our IT, all of that capital is not being accumulated in America. It's being accumulated in China. It's being accumulated in India, in Mexico. It's driving their long-run economic growth. So we need a sensible trade policy which promotes domestic investment so that we can keep fueling that technological growth and domestic investment. That's how we're going to get rich in the long run. So tariffs need to be high and they need to be stable to promote that domestic investment.
What's the sweet spot for tariffs, in your opinion?
I think it's a lot higher than people think. You got to wonder. In the 1800s, America's average tariff rate was about 30%, and that was in an age before we had forklifts, before we had container ships.
Mm-hmm.
I think the tariff rates have got to be high. I would be, Kevin O'Leary, for example, he was talking about tariff rates 400%. I don't know if we need to go that high, but I would be, skeptical of anything under 50%. I'd say let's even try out a 100% tariff, and we can play by ear after that point.
Yeah.
And I just want to be clear: we're not talking about all products.
Right.
I think it's also important to recognize that we want to have. We want to protect our advanced manufacturing and manufacturing industries because that's creating value. But we want cheap raw materials. So we don't need to put tariffs on, like, coffee. We can't grow coffee. We don't need to put tariffs on oil. We want the cheap oil, right? So we need to get smart about these tariff policies.
So explain to people, me specifically, in words of one syllable, why tariffs aren't something that we should be afraid of as consumers.
Well, there's all this hullabaloo over tariffs increasing the cost of living. Everybody says tariffs are going to increase inflation. Admittedly, there's going to be some short-term pain for some long-term gain. That happens any time there's a systematic change. You have to remember, the media would be complaining if President Trump cut the income tax, because they'd say, look at all the accountants who are being put out of work. It's doing tons of economic damage, right? So this is sort of the media climate that we're dealing with. It's reflexively opposed to really anything the president is doing. But the fact of the matter is that tariffs are not going to increase the cost of goods in the long run, and there's a few reasons for that. The most important one is that tariffs are shifting the balance in favor of production and workers away from this capital investment. And what that does is it's going to increase the number of people who have jobs, and it's going to increase the wages for people who have jobs. And the reality is most people work for a living. So if wages go up, that's only going to reduce the cost of goods for most people. And I think that's a good thing.
Spencer Morrison, you are the man. His book, Reshore: How Tariffs Will Bring Our Jobs Home and Revive the American Dream. He's also editor of the National Economics editorial, and that's pretty interesting as well. I appreciate your time, and thanks for your expertise.
Thanks so much. It was my pleasure. God bless.
Thank you. And we'll be right back on The Jason Rantz Show.
Bonneville International radio station contests are open to participants 18 years of age or older that are residents of Washington State unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contests are not eligible to win unless the station otherwise specifies at its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 60 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available on ktth.com or in person at the station during regular business hours.
There's a good feeling we get when we show up for others, whether it's a family member, a neighbor, or a local nonprofit we care about. When you donate or volunteer to support nonprofits, great things happen. That's what Give Big is all about. Give Big is Washington's annual giving campaign that benefits nonprofits of all kinds across our state. On May 6th and 7th, visit wagives.org to discover and donate to nonprofits making good things happen.
Hey, it's Jason Rantz with a real example from someone at our station who had a loved one who was rear-ended on I-5. They were in standstill traffic. The person behind him must have been distracted and hit them driving about 35 miles an hour. Now, luckily, everyone's okay, but this meant doctor's visits, physical therapy, x-rays, and missing a week of work. The car was totaled. Now, this was back in August, and yet still no settlement from the insurance company. In fact, they weren't even reimbursed for the week they missed work or the money they spent on a doctor and x-rays. One big mistake they made, not hiring Harold D. Carr right away. This happens all the time. You think you can do it yourself or that you've got the time, but if you're in an accident, you call the law offices of Harold D. Carr right away. Carr's team will save you time and money. Don't wait on the insurance company. They're in no rush to pay you. HaroldCarrattorney.com is the site. There are 2 R's in Carr. Harold Carr can help. HaroldCarrattorney.com. C-A-R-R. HaroldCarrattorney.com.
Do you get sinus infections, congestion, sinus pressure and pain, sinus headaches? You've gone to the doctor. You visit urgent care over and over again. And it's always the same thing, right? Oh, I know. Let's try antibiotics and some nasal sprays. But they just keep coming back. You may suffer with chronic sinus infections. The good news? Relief is possible. How? A minimally invasive procedure called the Sinusoft procedure, available only at the Modern Nose Clinic. Imagine a procedure so delicate there are no narcotics. Less cutting means less bleeding, so no packing, and no operating room. The Sinusoft procedure is designed for the clinic. If you suffer with chronic sinus infections, facial pain, pressure, and congestion, find out if the Sinusoft procedure, available only at the Modern Nose Clinic, is the solution for you. Call and set an appointment today. 206-388-2770. 206-388-2770. That's 206-388-2770.
Imagine finding your dream home and moving in right away. No waiting to sell your old place first. Sounds perfect, right? That's exactly what Orchard's Move First, Sell Later program lets you do. Buy your new home now and sell the old one later. Here's how it works. Orchard gives you cash so you can buy and move into your new home first, on your timeline. No waiting, no showings, no double moves. Then the Orchard experts take it from there. They handle repairs on your old home for you so you attract the right buyers. Once they're done, a local Orchard agent lists and sells your home for top dollar. Orchard's Move First program gives you the freedom to buy and move into your new home first and sell your old home later. Buy before you sell and get top dollar for your home with Orchard. Ready to find out how much your home is worth? Visit Orchard.com to get your free home valuation. That's Orchard.com.
The Jason Rantz Show.
Jason, I got to thank you very much indeed for bringing these stories to our attention.
When you tell people they're a target, they'll act like a target. They will either live in fear or they'll act out.
The more you allow, the farther the criminals will go.
And that's why this behavior is allowed to continue.
That's exactly right.
Long form.
Victoria Taft filling in for Jason Rantz on KTTH. Well, unless you lived under a rock, you probably know that the Washington State Legislature sine-died. And by died, I mean so did your wallet when they left town. And Jim Walsh is in charge of the Republican Party. He's also a state legislator. Jim Walsh, welcome back to the Jason Rantz Show. And it's delightful to talk with you again, except I don't really like these circumstances under which we are speaking.
That seems to be how it always is, Victoria. People want to talk to me when times are so bad. They don't call me when things go well, and things have not been going very well in Olympia lately.
It started out of the gate, didn't it? I mean, were the rule changes, et cetera, put Republicans at a disadvantage, those who wanted to debate the issues, the bills, because the Democrats who believe in this is what democracy looks like. That crowd, yeah, they decided they didn't like democracy so much.
Yeah, they changed the rules so that it was easier for the Speaker of the House to end debate on the floor. They only used that power once, well, really one day. They used it a couple times one day. And we responded by requiring an oral roll call vote on every bill and motion to the floor, which we're allowed to do under the rules. Mm-hmm. And they understood that slowed things down so much, Victoria. They understood there was a price to pay for ending debate, and they didn't use it again. They just used it that one time.
I see. So in the end, however, they took a real fast train to $2,000 to $4,000 in increased taxes per Washingtonian.
Correct. A very bad package of tax increases at the state level. There were a number of bills. Remember, the budgets are one set of bills, the three budgets, operating, transportation, and capital construction. Those are the three budgets. But separate of the budgets, when they increase taxes or create new taxes, those have to be discrete bills. And there were a group of bills, about a dozen of them, that raised taxes and fees in Washington state. And really about 7 of them were critical. 5 of them connected to the operating budget. No surprise, the operating budget is the biggest by far, and a couple related to the transportation budget. But the 5 tax increases that are supporting the additional spending in the operating budget are where the real damage is being done to the state, our economy, and our families.
Before I ask you what those are, let me ask you first the question about whether or not we had a deficit we had to fill in the first place.
Correct. This deficit that you've heard about is a projection. By state law, we have to project 4 years out. Remember, we always operate on 2-year budget cycles in Olympia, the state government. So we have to project two-year cycles ahead and see where our current spending trends would take us 4 years in the future. That's what the deficit was. It was not a current deficit. It was a projected deficit 4 years out. Our position as fiscal conservatives and Republicans was, okay, here's how the best way we can deal with that projected deficit. Let's hold spending at the current 2023 to 2025 2-year level. And if we just hold it steady, we don't have to cut anything. Mm-hmm. If we just hold the spending steady for the next 4 years, we can erase that projected deficit. The Democrats did not agree. They wanted to spend more. And so they're increasing spending by about 8% from the current 2-year cycle that we're at the end of to the new one that we just passed the budgets on.
And now we've got to work twice as hard. We've got to take more pop bottles back. We've got to make sure that we get enough money so that we can pay these blowhards and spendthrifts more of our money that we didn't really need to spend. So you said that there was a three buckets of money. I think you said, was it essentially 5 bills that were really the
3 main budgets: the operating budget, the transportation budget, and the capital construction budget. The operating budget is the biggest of the 3 by far. In the 2-year cycle we're just at the end of now, we spent $73 billion during that 2-year cycle on the operating budget. On the new one that we just passed, or my colleagues just passed in Olympia, that goes from 2025 to 2027, we're going to spend $79 billion, almost $80 billion. So they're increasing that spending. In order to cover the new additional spending, they passed 5 different tax increases. The largest of which is an increase in the business and occupation tax, the B&O tax, which is our main business tax in the state. That increase is worth about $5 billion. They also increased property taxes. Now, they didn't do the 1% to 3% a year automatic increase that they had suggested initially, but they did a backdoor version of that increases property taxes, which is absurd, Victoria. Our property taxes are way too high already, but they're increasing property taxes. They're also increasing gas and diesel sales taxes. They are increasing...
You talk about regressive taxes.
Oh, the most regressive. It's terrible. It's terrible. And they're increasing. They're doing what's called a Tesla tax, which is they're taxing the carbon credits that electric car makers get. So they're taxing their own favorite thing in public policy, and really, I mean, it's partly to raise money, but partly it's targeted at Elon Musk and Tesla Motors.
Of course. Now, let me ask you something. Let me ask you this: from where do they get these carbon tax credits? Are they on the open market such as it is, or doesn't the state run that?
Yeah, it's a market sort of like a derivatives investment market run by the state, by the Department of Ecology, where they sell carbon credits. It's convoluted.
So wait. Stop right.
Complicated system.
Okay, so let me just ask. I have to stop you there. DOE runs it. DOE is then going to tax those people on the carbon credits that they've allegedly earned for whatever it is they're doing or purchased. I guess they purchased the carbon credits, so now they have to pay state. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, it's a little more complicated than that, but basically it's a clawback of a credit that electric vehicle manufacturers get through a sort of convoluted process related to those carbon credits. So it is essentially taxing what was a tax break that those companies got. And when I say those companies, they structured it so that the new tax only applies to car companies that are 100% electric vehicles. So it doesn't apply to Nissan and the Leaf, and it doesn't apply to General Motors or anybody at Ford or anybody else. It only applies to 100% electric vehicle companies, which is basically Tesla.
Gee, I wonder why they did that. These people are just insane. I don't understand.
They did other things too, Victoria. I didn't even finish all five. So they also increased excise tax on, which is like a transactional tax, similar to a sales tax, but structurally different, on businesses that are involved in tech services and advanced computing, as well as other services. So another business tax, essentially. So it's a group of five. It total raises taxes by about $9 billion. If you toss in the two that are connected to the transportation budget, the total effect on people in the state is about $14 billion in new taxes above our existing tax burden.
So a B&O, property taxes, gas and diesel, excise, and
Tesla.
What was the final one? That was the Tesla one?
Tesla. Tesla grab back.
Okay. Okay.
Now, here's a key thing to keep in mind. So the $79 billion 2-year operating budget for the 2 years ahead, ending balance at the end of the 2 years, $230 million. That sounds like a lot of money, but on a $79 billion budget, the $230 million ending balance is actually kind of small. But by law, that ending fund balance has to be a positive number. That's what defines a balanced budget. And by law in our state, our budgets have to balance. Not true in D.C., but here in Washington. That's
can't print your own money. Just wait till they want
to. The trouble is that $230 million, it's very small compared to $79 billion. And all five of the new taxes I mentioned are generating more than $230 million. So if the governor vetoes any of the five new taxes, he throws the ending fund balance into red ink, into a negative number. And that puts him between a rock and a hard place because he's sort of said that he would veto or at least not support these taxes. But now if he actually vetoes them, he creates a budget problem that would probably result in having to have an emergency special session of the legislature to rewrite the budget. And so I don't know what he's going to do. It'll be a real test of his political character if he sticks to what he told people and vetoes some of these taxes, but then we have to rewrite the budget.
Sounds great. I mean, this is fantastic. I mean, it's chaos. It's fiscal chaos.
It's very bad management, yes.
Wow, that's amazing. Can I ask you about a couple other things real quick before I let you go? And that's the Parents' Bill of Rights takes a hit. Is that true?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, tell me what happened.
House Bill 1296 passed. It's on the governor's desk. It guts the Parents' Bill of Rights. There's no other way to say it. And that's shocking because my colleagues who are gutting it right now 1 year ago voted for the Parents' Bill of Rights. So they've got talking points about why this is okay, but they look like hypocrites because they just voted for this and now they're gutting it. But it's even worse than just gutting the Parents' Bill of Rights, Victoria. They bolted on to this bill. It started in the State House. It went over to the State Senate. When it was in the State Senate, they bolted on 2 State Senate bills that have nothing to do with gutting the Parents' Bill of Rights. But they were dying. They weren't going to pass, so they stuck them on this. And one of the 2 bolted on bills is especially bad. It gives the school superintendent, the state school superintendent, and the Office of the Superintendent of Public Instruction, OSPI, the ability to withhold operating money from school districts that are, quote, willfully non-compliant, unquote, with orders and edicts from OSPI. This upends 100 years of law in this state, Victoria, where school districts are considered independent. And the OSPI, the state education bureaucracy, is supposed to be supportive and advisory to independent school boards. But now, with this new law, if the governor signs it, OSPI can withhold money from school districts to punish them for what the current superintendent, Mr. Reichel, has called not obeying OSPI. This is a complete affront to local control of schools by locally elected school boards. It's horrible stuff.
So, the school superintendent Reichel is also in some trouble from the feds. He is now the target of an investigation in Washington, D.C. by the Department of Education, such that it is for his flagrant abuse of the rules of Title IX, which say no boys and girls sports. What do you make of that?
No, it's a big deal, and it's a good one. It's very good that the Federal Department of Education and the Federal Department of Justice are investigating the state superintendent of schools for his bad actions with regard to gender issues and, as you say, boys and girls sports. There's more to come, I think. This fellow Reichel is out of control. His desire to dictate policy and actions on independently elected school boards there's no other word for it. It's tyrannical. And it is absolutely against both the spirit and the letter of both federal and state constitutions and law. It is good that the feds are looking into this. And they've got more to do. You know they've got more to do. I hope they're doing this first. They also need to look into how our state is breaking and suborning federal immigration law, and they need to look into our state's election process.
Absolutely.
Particularly voter ID issues. So those are the 3. K-12 education, immigration, and election integrity. Those are the 3 issues I'm looking for the federal government and the Trump administration to take good enforcement action on lawlessness here in Washington.
I don't know if you saw Harmeet Dillon's tweet or whatever we're calling post the other day in which she was reacting to the whites need not apply housing free money for down payments for housing in the state of Washington. And, obviously it's clearly, categorically a racist bill and a racist law. So she's looking at it. She knows about it. Would you welcome such a look-see by the DOJ?
Yeah, that's another issue. That's kind of a fourth one. The so-called covenant housing policy we put in place here in Washington State, it is, and the supporters will admit it, it is a reparations program, and those reparations programs have largely been deemed unconstitutional under the 14th Amendment to the federal Constitution's equal protection language. So it's a problem. Ultimately, I'm a little less concerned about that one, A, because it is flagrantly unconstitutional, and B, because the dollars involved are relatively small. But the other 3, the K-12 school policies, immigration, and election integrity issues, those are bigger dollars, bigger issues. But the reparations bill is a bad one, and I'm glad that Harmeet Dillon, who's kind of the number 2 under Pam Bondi at the Trump DOJ, is looking into it. That's a good thing, too.
It is. I mean, when it affronts people's rights, civil rights, that is It's something to pay attention to. Thanks a lot, Jim Walsh. I know you've got to run along. You've got a big speech tonight, so break a leg.
Thanks. There's so much to talk about going on, and as long as these bills are still on the governor's desk, we need to pay close attention to what's going on in Olympia, because it's going to be a measure of the man, Mr. Ferguson, how he deals with these taxes and budgets and other controversial policies.
Well, I mean, okay. You have much more hope than I do that he will find his own morality and own voice about this, but I'm pretty sure he's a dyed-in-the-wool leftist. But I hope you're right that maybe he will have second thoughts.
I'm a cockeyed optimist. I'm always hoping for better outcomes.
Jim Walsh, thanks again. Appreciate you coming on the Jason Rantz Show with me, Victoria Taft. Have a great evening.
Great to talk to you, Victoria.
And we'll be right back on the Jason Rantz Show.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Progressive knows when you own a boat or RV, it's like you're automatically on vacation, even if you're actually a marriage counselor in the middle of couples therapy. But in your mind, you're camping in Acadia, puttering around Frenchman Bay. Your boat and RV are both protected. You're lobster drenched in butter and... Uh-oh, did your clients just notice you weren't listening? Quick, do the thing where you just repeat back exactly what they said, but as a question. They bought it. Now back to Maine, earning an automatic discount bundling your boat or RV with your home or auto. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Hey, it's Jason Rantz here for Northwest Safe. Protect your valuables with a reliable gun safe from Northwest Safe. They're an exclusive Liberty Safe dealer. These are American-made. They are built tough. Liberty Safe is the most trusted name in the safe industry. And in Northwest Safe, because they exclusively sell the Liberty Safe as their dealer, you get better pricing, exclusive rebates, and you get the perfect safe for your home or your business ready to go in stock. You can visit their showroom in Enumclaw. They've got hundreds of safes on display, or you can go online to nwsafe.com, nwsafe.com. And when it's time to have it delivered, they don't just drop it off at the front porch. They bring it into the home, upstairs, downstairs. They bolt it to your basement floor if that's what you want. Protect your firearms, secure your valuables, and do it with white glove delivery and unbeatable service. Northwest Safe makes sure Liberty Safe does what it does best, keeping you safe. nwsafe.com or call 1-888-404-SAFE.
You're not just fixing a roof. You're protecting your family, your comfort, and your peace of mind. At Pacific Exteriors, they help homeowners like you make the right roofing choice with trusted craftsmanship and the best warranty in the industry. As an Owens Corning Platinum Preferred contractor, they're proud to offer long-lasting solutions. This month, mention KTTH and get 15% off your roofing project. Visit PacificExteriorsLLC.com. Choose Superior with Pacific Exteriors. PacificExteriorsLLC.com.
Is it time to get your home sold? Nick Southard with Upgrade Realty here. Selling hundreds of homes for over 25 years has taught me presentation is everything. Picture amazing photography, designer staging, and maximum exposure. With my luxurious marketing, you'll sell fast at top dollar and save thousands in fees for just 1% listing commission. To learn more, visit upgraderealty.com. Upgrade your listing for 1%. Upgraderealty.com.
Hey, it's Jason Rantz. I'm here with our local tax expert and advocate, Greg Nunn of None Better Tax Resolution. When you're dealing with business owners and the idea that they owe money to the IRS and they feel like they might be letting their staff down, and it just spirals out of control.
One thing I see with businesses, it's really tough because they have employees and maybe they're having a difficult time with the cash flow of the business. Then unfortunately, what a business often does is they quit making their payroll tax deposits, which is really about the worst thing you could be doing. I mean, it's a telltale sign if you're doing that. Hey, get someone that can help you kind of look at your business and see if things can be changed so that you can operate your business better and make those payroll tax deposits. Because let me tell you this, the IRS is on those right away.
If you're having trouble with the IRS, you have to call Greg Nunn of None Better Tax Resolution. From stress to success with IRS solutions. 425-947-1967 or Google NUNN. None better, tax resolution.
A bold new voice on KTTH.
So Mike Waltz is out at NSC.
Dana Lash.
And you knew something like this was coming.
Weekday mornings, 9 to noon.
They were discussing something very innocuously in a signal chat that, it's not like Hillary Clinton. This is actually okay to use. I think that they put him out there so they wouldn't have to do Hegseth. They wanted a scalp. The left wanted a scalp. Like, okay, we'll give you this, but you can't have this.
Catch the Dana Show, weekday mornings, 9 to noon, wherever you are on the KTTH app. The Jason Rantz Show.
Jason, it is always great to have you on the program.
Where are they going to move the homeless to?
People who impose these policies that lead to these outcomes, you are partly to blame, but the good news is you can fix this.
Jason, this is kind of the last trend you want to be right about, but it was obvious, it seemed.
The Quick Hit.
It's Victoria Taft in for Jason Rantz on a Friday evening. How are you? It's gorgeous outside. Have yourself a great weekend. You know what? I get to talk to a colleague of mine over at PJ Media, Scott Pinkster. He's a PR professional, but he also writes for us, and he has such incredible insights into just about everything, what the news stories are, how things look to the American people, maybe things that, news nerds like me don't see from the outset. Really interesting. So his latest piece for PJ Media is called, "We're Gonna Lose the PR War Over Tariffs Until We Start Doing This." Scott Pinkster, welcome to the Jason Rantz Show with moi, Victoria Taft. How's it going?
Hey, Victoria Taft. A pleasure to be talking to you.
Great to talk with you. Well, so you've been cogitating over the tariff situation. I don't know if you're an agnostic about it or what have you, but you think that the White House is not treating this issue the way it should be treating it and framing it. What do you think?
Well, there are people that are economic experts, and they can pinpoint exactly what the tariff should be or what it shouldn't be, what pain point will get us to where you actually have an importation of new factories, manufacturing here. I'm not that guy. I get baffled when I get to the third beat on the abacus. So, I'm not a math major, but I do know PR. And if Donald Trump tapped me on the shoulder and said, we need to sell this initiative, I wouldn't get into the weeds about what the numbers should be or what it shouldn't be. But from pitching it, from communicating it, and to hopefully get the American people to be excited about it, that's what I'm really intrigued by the tactical end to get us to where we hopefully will end up.
And what do you recommend?
We need to change our language when talking about tariffs because you're talking about a new topic. We're talking about, abortion or immigration or education. You could recite off the top of your head a million different angles, a million different stories. You've heard Rush Limbaugh, G. Gordon Liddy, Sean Hannity, Victoria Taft, all the big names in talk radio talking about it for a long, long time. But for tariffs, it's kind of a new topic. And a lot of people in our country really hadn't thought about it before, which means that they could be susceptible to media manipulation.
Yes.
And that could hurt us or it could help us. And what I would recommend to the Trump administration is that you need to take the American people, you got to hold them by the hand. You're going to be escorting them into a new idea, new territory, and you got to do it by holding the hand and gently guide them there. And we need to make the connection between tariffs and jobs incredibly clear. You can't have any separation between the two. Tariff and job should almost be a hyphenated term because if we want people to tolerate the pain point of tariffs and the upheaval and the stock market going wacky, you've got to give them that reward. You've got to give them the light at the end of the tunnel and tell them what the mission's all about and get them motivated and excited to be engaged in it.
E.J. Antoni did a piece for Town Hall, the mothership for PJ Media, about how, the numbers that we've seen in this quarter that just came out, 177,000 jobs. And also they said, well, GDP's down. GDP's down